Let me see. Fariha Arai. Fariha, are you there?
Yes, sir.
So Fariha, you are the lead of this group, huh? Okay. So,
Okay.
okay, so you'll be the group lead. So you will represent all the students. So in case whenever you're answering a question, I expect you to talk to your fellow colleagues in between A to H. Farida, no? Farida, right?
Fariha.
I'm sorry. Fariha. Okay. Then second is H to N. Let me see who is there in the second group. Harshal Bhogal. Harshal, you're there? Harshal has left the meeting when I said he wants to be a lead, right? Is it coincidence or he left? Doesn't matter. H, who else is there? Mayur Jadhav, you're there? Mayur? Now you also don't leave the session, okay? Mayur, you're there, no? Mayur, you're there?
Students, kindly respond
Yes,
fast,
sir.
beta.
Please just, yeah, respond
Yes, sir. I'm
fast because
present.
otherwise, don't feel shy, yeah. We're all learning. Your faculty must be there, your students will be there. Don't bother, okay? Just speak out, okay? So you have 8. Okay, what about O to Z? Omar Inamdar. Omar, you're there?
Yes, sir.
So Omar, you're the lead for group 3, okay? Okay, great. So now we have identified the group. So the next thing we are going to go is to the definition of machine learning. So first of all, can anybody tell me what is AI? Anybody?
Intelligence.
Artificial
Artificial
intelligence.
intelligence.
Artificial intelligence.
Artificial intelligence.
Okay, but I want more details. AI is just a term. What do you? Why? What is AI?
Robotics.
Robotics
It
is
is
an
opposite of human intelligence. Intelligence.
Machine learning.
okay.
It works
Uh,
quite parallel to
Self-brain of
human
computer.
intelligence.
okay. So somebody is saying it is opposite of human intelligence. Okay, fine. Somebody is saying it is some. What is it?
Parallel
Brain
to human intelligence.
parallel to human
Self-brain of
intelligence.
computer.
Okay. Okay. What else? Robotics.
It
Sir,
learns
Robots.
on itself by
it is
response.
intelligence demonstrated by machines or displayed by humans.
It is intelligence displayed by machines. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody?
Intelligence created by machine learning.
Achha, machine learning will come later. Now we are only talking about AI. Okay. So let's focus on AI. Machine learning is a subset of AI. Okay. So when you say AI from an overall perspective, so everybody had different versions. Very good. Okay. So the way I will put it, okay, because I come from the industry, I will put it in a very simple way. Simple is something. If there is a process or there is a repetitive process, okay, which probably a human being, it becomes very tedious for a human being to do. Okay, it is better to have something which can automate that process, and at the same time, it will simulate the human behavior. The very important word is simulation, right? So you're simulating the human behavior by having a machine which will basically work as basically try to simulate the behavior of a human being. Okay, so when I talk of robotics, or when I talk of self-driving cars, right? So who is the inventor of self-driving cars?
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
Tesla.
Elon Musk from Tesla, right? So
Tesla.
he's the guy who started this self-driving car. So all these are examples of automation, right? And today, unlike India, where there is a huge population, in other countries, there is a need for disruption. When I say disruption, means there's a need to minimize the workforce and bring about more automation, right? And when I say more automation is because I want to automate some of the repetitive processes. Okay, so that is why artificial intelligence has become in fact, artificial intelligence has been done for a very long time, but of late it has become very popular, and there's a lot of demand in various companies for AI. So I will come to those slides also later. Okay. So AI is all about simulation of human behavior. Okay. So what is machine learning? Anybody? I don't expect you to give me the right answer, but give whatever guess estimates you have or whatever you have learned from your whatever technology magazines or whatever you read.
Sir,
Some machine
Giving
learning, the machine
making
learning, it
machine
is a step into the direction of artificial intelligence.
making machine learns through trial and error.
Sir, it
So
is a
what does machine
program that
learn?
analyze.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
It is a program that analyzes data and it learns to predict the outcome.
Very nice. Who was that person? What's the name?
So Akansha.
Very, very good, Akansha. Anybody else can put it in another way? I like the
Sir,
word
it is a
prediction.
study of computer algorithm that improve automatically through experience.
Okay, you used another good word called experience. Okay, good. So I've heard two words, experience and predicting the output. Okay, anybody else? Anybody else has any?
sir, I would
Yeah.
say instead of predicting the output, it learns and puts out the correct output.
Okay, that is another version. Very good. But anybody else?
Trial and error.
Trial and error. That word.
Application of artificial intelligence.
Application of artificial intelligence. Okay, and that's anyways an application. Machine learning is a subset of AI. That's I already told you. Okay, so I think I what is the name? Ankita, right? Sorry, please pardon me. Who was the person who gave the right answer?
Akansha.
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 Okay. So the way I will define machine learning is that I've got data, right? Now this data can come from various sources. For where does this data come from? So what are the various sources of data? What are the various sources of data? If I'll just write it down. What are the various sources of data?
Searches.
What is structured data? Anybody has heard the term structured data? What is structured data? You have tables and columns, rows and columns, right? You have primary key, you have got secondary key, you have got indexing and all that, right? That's a structured data. You have a structured rows and columns, you have got an index, okay? The second type of data is unstructured data. What is unstructured data?
Sir, it is not organized. We must organize the data for analysis.
So example of unstructured data?
Paragraph. In the form of paragraph.
Paragraph could be a field in a table, na? It could be a say last. It could be a series of description, for example, of a product. Okay. So, for example, if you have images, okay, you have pictures, your social media, you have Facebook, Instagram, you have Twitter, right? Whatever communication is going on there. Please pardon my spelling, sir. So whatever you have that, these are all unstructured data because they are not in a particular format. In WhatsApp, I can send a message in whatever format I want, right? Okay. So what happens is we have so much of data available. And for example, let's take a very, very nice example. I always give to my students. Hindustan Livers, they make soaps, right? Now, what happens? There's a new brand which has come of, say, a Lifebuoy, okay? A new brand. And there's a survey going on about the product. And people are responding about the product. Either they're responding on their website, okay? They are responding on the website of Hindustan Livers, or they're responding on Instagram, or they are responding on Facebook, or they're even they're also responding on WhatsApp. On WhatsApp, I may say, okay, I don't like this product. Okay, or somebody writes to a friend, I don't like this product because of so and so reasons, right? Now, if I'm the CEO of Hindustan Levers, I want to do an analysis of this data. Okay, so to do this analysis, I need to capture all these unstructured data also, right? Okay, and once I capture this unstructured data, I need to analyze this data, okay, and come out with some conclusions as to, for example, how many percent of people are saying good, how many percent of people are saying bad about my product, for example, right? So that I can formulate some strategy. Okay. So what happens here is that typically when I have this data, I will try to read this data and I will try to derive some pattern out of the data. I will try to derive some pattern out of the data and come out with an analytics. Okay. Now, when you come to machine learning, what is machine learning is all about is that I have some data. I have some input data. Okay. Now, what I do is I feed this input data into a machine. Okay. This machine will learn, you will input this data and the machine will learn through experience. Very important word, through experience. Okay. And once it learns through experience, it will try to derive a pattern out of the data. Derives a pattern and predict the output. So what happens is you have lots of data as input data. Okay, that data you will feed it into a machine or through an algorithm, which will learn the data through learning experience, and predict the output. And that output should be close to the actual data, because you already know the actual data which you're feeding to the machine learning. Now you want the machine learning to basically help the human being to come out with a predicted output which is very close to the actual data. That is why machine learning has become very, very important, because it will do that on behalf of the human being. And imagine that if you have got millions and trillions of records, if a human being were to derive this pattern of the pattern of the records, it will be a very tedious, a very humongous task, right? So to avoid the human beings do that, we have a machines which can be trained through learning and experience, and it will be able to predict the output close to the actual data. Have you understood this definition of machine learning? Anybody has any doubts?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, so you know what is AI and you know what is machine learning. Okay, so machine learning is all about taking input data, feeding the data into a machine. The machine learns through experience. There is a pattern which the machine comes out with that. There is a pattern which is derived out of that data, and there's a prediction of the output from the machine. Okay, many people always call it machine. People also call it a model. Okay, we always call it a machine or model, right? Okay, we also call it a model. So this is basically the definition of machine learning. Okay. Now let us go to the next slide. So it's all about the science of getting computers to learn and act like humans do, and improve their learning through experience over time by feeding them data and information in the form of observations and real world interactions. Okay. So this is example of machine learning, or definition of machine learning. Now let us have some examples of machine learning in real life. Okay. How many of you go to McDonald's? I feel everybody, right? Most, not now,
Yes.
current in the
Yes, sir.
current scenario, but I'm sure when the pandemic was not there, you all used to love going to McDonald's or pizza and whatever, right? Now how did this combo concept come? Combo. You have all heard of this combo thing coming up, right? So how does this combo come is that very interesting. So McDonald's, when you go to McDonald's and you basically place an order, right? Then what happens? Somebody will enter the data, right? That's called the point of sales, POS, right? When he enters the data gets fed into a server in McDonald's somewhere in Australia, for example, right? That server is getting all the data from all the customers. Okay. Once it is getting all this data, then there is an algorithm, there's a machine learning algorithm which crunches this data on an ongoing basis, and it comes out with an analysis as to what is the people who are basically buying only burgers, what is the percentage of people who are buying burgers and say fries, or person who are buying burger, fry and coke, right? So they did an analysis through the machine learning algorithms and came to know that maybe X percentage of people brought only burgers, some brought burgers and fries, and majority of the people brought the combination of all the three. And that is where the analysis which happened out of that machine learning data, okay, that helped the CEO to strategize and come out with a special pricing for combo. Okay, so this is an example of how machine learning helps in studying the data which is getting to the system, crunching the data, coming out with a pattern, and helping you in coming out with some decisions. Okay. Second is credit scorecard. Okay, now most of you, I don't know how many of you, but probably some of you already have started using the credit card to buy something, right? When you buy a credit card, so there's a credit transaction when you buy against a credit card. So you are supposed to pay within a month's time by default, correct? So whenever you're paying something, it gets recorded as a transaction, right? And there are some credit rating agencies which take this data and they basically run some machine learning algorithms and try to derive a pattern of that particular customer, whether how many times he has brought on, how many times he has paid on time, how many times he has defaulted. Okay, so those, or how many times he never paid. So all those criteria can be captured using the machine learning algorithm. And once the credit report is created for that particular person, so when I go to a bank to take a loan, right? So that particular person or the bank employee already has your credit report. He already knows, he already has it with him, right? So when you take a loan, the bank employee has already done his homework. So he will have your credit report and he will tell you, and based on your credit report, he will say, I will give you 70% loan or 80% loan or whatever, right? So again, so this is credit report, credit scorecard is all basically analyzed using machine learning algorithms. Let's say fraud detection. Today you go to a bank, you can identify a transaction, whether it is a scam transaction or it is an actual normal transaction. And then using machine learning algorithm, you can allow a machine or a model to predict whether a transaction is actually normal or it is a fraud, right? So there are some machine learning algorithms which do that. Medical diagnosis. So if you have heard IBM as a company, they have a machine, they have a tool called Watson, right? So what happens is that today IBM is collecting lot of patient data. So when I say patient data is, suppose I go to a doctor, the first thing I do when I go to a doctor is, first of all, is I go to a doctor with a symptom, whether I'm coughing or cold or I have a fever, whatever. So when I go to a doctor with a particular symptom, the doctor will come out with some diagnosis. He will diagnose you, right? He will diagnose you and say, okay, why don't you do a blood test? Why you don't do an X-ray test, whatever, right? Today, most of the doctors will say do a test, right? So you do a test, you do a diagnosis, and once the test results come, then the doctor will say what disease you have, and accordingly he will prescribe you some medicines, right? So this complete set of data is now captured in machine learning in a database, and there are machine learning algorithms of IBM which will automatically tell you that if this is your symptom, it will predict what sort of disease you have and what sort of medicine you need to take, right? But obviously, please understand one thing. Somebody had said that why we are using the word prediction, right? Machine learning cannot be 100% perfect. Always remember. Okay, if you have heard about the self-driving cars of Tesla, there were 2 instances where the vehicle caught fire. Okay, so essentially, it is not that every machine learning algorithm gives you 100% efficiency. Never. If it gives you 100%, I mean, it is the most optimum or most optimum scenario. But in real situations, you will never come across any machine learning algorithm which gives you 100% perfection, okay, or 100% accuracy. Always remember that. Similarly, here in medical diagnosis also, if I were to use the tool to do a proper which will help me diagnosis, then why do I go to a doctor, right? Okay, that
Right.
will not be the case. I will always go to the doctor because I feel more safe if I get some advice from a doctor, right? But I'm saying the world is going towards a stage where there's a lot of automation happening, and the machines will probably try to diagnose and tell you the particular diagnosis and tell you a particular medicine or prescribe you some medicine, right? So this is one example of machine learning. You do Google search. Today, everybody, if somebody tells me that do a research, I will do a Google search. So the Google search also works on the principle of machine learning. Okay. Then you talk of language translators. If you want to translate from one language to another, right? There are machines available. We say a particular language, it will translate. Okay, again, that is through machine learning because there is data available and there's a machine which has been trained to predict the output, which is your translated language. Natural language processing, right? For example, if you have to convert speech to text, if you're basically talking of Alexa, the full machine, the algorithm has been written in machine learning. It's a machine learning algorithm using NLP, natural language processing. So when you talk to Alexa, right? So initially, what happens is when you talk initially, that Alexa takes time to basically understand your voice, right? So you have to train the Alexa to basically till the time you train it multiple times till it really understands your voice, and then whenever you ask any questions, it will be able to tell you answer, because what it does is it converts speech to text, and the text is processed using a machine learning algorithm and gives you the answers, right? So these are all machine learning algorithms which are running, which are predicting you the output, right? How do you identify a spam mail? Okay, whether it's a spam mail or whether it is a mail with normal mail, you can have machine learning algorithm which can identify that. Okay, chatbot. If you go to the internet, you have a chatbot which asks you question and answers. So when you have those question and answers, again there are machine learning algorithms which will, based on your answer, it will ask you the next sequence of questions, right? So next set of questions, then you again give an answer, then again I will ask you a question. So all these are basically, there are machines or models which are basically trained to basically give you a particular output, right? Now sometimes you may actually give an answer, it will you give an answer and it will give a wrong question. So as I said, so machine learning again is never 100% perfect, correct? Another very important, which is very prevalent today, is I'm sure many of you, since you're not going to cinema theaters, you must be seeing a lot of movies on Netflix or buying products on Flipkart or Amazon. So when you go to Flipkart or when you go to Amazon or when you go to Netflix, there is a pop-up which comes. Okay, these are the movies that will recommend you, or these are the products that it will recommend you, right? So this product recommendation or the movie recommendation is done using machine learning algorithms. So what that machine learning algorithm does, it based on your past movies that you have selected, based on similar profile people of like you who have watched movies, it will try to suggest some movies. So it has got a recommender engine. It's called a recommender engine, which runs a machine learning algorithm, and it proposes basically recommends a set of movies or products depending on your profile. Okay, so these are some of the examples of real-time machine learning applications. Anybody has any questions on this slide?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Is it clear? Okay,
Yes, sir.
great.
It's clear.
So let me talk to you about some of the tools that we use today. The most preferred language today is Python and R. Okay, these are the most industry driven or industry demand languages. Today, most of the industry use R and Python, right? There are companies like SAS, SPSS, which are also having their own machine learning tools, libraries. You have TensorFlow, which is a machine learning library of Google, right? And there are Tableau and Excel. These are all visualization tools, analytical tools, right? You can draw graphs, you can come out with some analysis based on the graphs and so on. And you have tools like Jupyter Notebook and Google Colabs. These are the basically interactive environments where you can write Python scripts and execute them, right? So you got Python Spider, you have got Jupyter Notebook, and you also have Google Colab. So these are all various interfaces where you write Python scripts and execute them. Okay, so these are some technologies which we use and the companies which use these technologies. Okay, now I will spend some time here. So when I'm talking of machine learning, so machine learning has got three types: supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. Okay, so let us go to what you mean by supervised learning. Okay. When you say supervised learning is essentially where, okay, now if let's go to an example. Y equal to mx plus c. What is this?
Equation of line.
Sorry, is this a
Equation of line.
Equation of
Slope intercept form.
Slope. Yes, slope.
yeah? So you have a linear line, okay, where you have y is your y-axis, y output, x is your x-axis, m is your slope, yeah? And you also have what is called c is constant, right?
Constant.
C is a constant, right?
Yeah.
So this is a linear. So if you see y equal to mx plus c, you know that the pattern or the trend is linear, right? Straight line, correct? So when I talk of supervised model, supervised learning, what happens is that from the data, I can make out that the pattern of the data is already known. My data pattern is already known in advance. If you know y equal to mx plus c, it is I know that y is dependent on x, and whenever x changes, y will also change, and with this equation, it will always be a straight line, correct? And if you remember in your school days, this was called what? You remember?
Slope intercept form. Slope intercept form.
This was called regression. I don't know whether you have heard this term. Okay, we used to call in algebra regression. Okay, so when you say y equal to mx plus c, it is an example of linear regression. It is an example of linear regression. So in this case, you have y as an output. Now, when I go to machine learning parlance or machine learning language, I will call y as a dependent variable. I go to x, what will x be called? Anybody?
Independent variable.
Yes. So you have, I wanted somebody to logically think, right? So this is independent variable. Why? Because y is dependent on x, while x is not dependent on y, correct? So x becomes an independent variable and y becomes a dependent variable, okay? So if I use a machine learning term, I will say y is either called an output or it is also called a dependent variable. If I call x, x is called an independent variable or it is also called feature, or it is also called predictor. Just remember these words, right? So when you say y output, so y is output is also called a dependent variable, and x is could be called an independent variable. It could be called a feature, or it could be a predictor. And what is m? M, we don't call it slope, it is called coefficient. So M is called coefficient, right? So if I see this equation y equal to mx plus c, it is something called a linear regression, right? So regression is one of the examples of supervised learning, because here the output is y is the output. We know the pattern of the output because it's a straight line, and it is dependent on the independent variable, which is x, right? So this is an example. So if you see y, so y is a continuous variable. Why is it continuous? Because the y changes as x changes, right? So it is not a fixed value. It is a continuous variable. Okay. Have we everybody understood this regression? Any questions? Any questions on the chat board? Datta, I forgot your name.
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay.
No any question in chat box.
Okay. So have you guys understood the concept of regression?
Yes, sir. We understood.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So within supervised learning, the first thing is regression. Okay, regression. And the second thing in supervised learning is classification. Now, what is classification? In the classification, the y is discrete, which means my output will have fixed values. It will not be continuous. For example, I could say y could be either yes or no. It could be 0 or 1. Or I can say, okay, I could say whether a picture is a dog or a cat or a horse or whatever. Or if I say a traffic signal, the traffic signal is red, blue, or green. Sorry, red, yellow, or green. Sorry, red, yellow, and green, right? Okay, so these are the cases where, in case of regression, where the y was a continuous variable, okay, and it was dependent on x. Here also y, while it is dependent on x, but the value of y is fixed. It will have a set of fixed values. It will not change. So it will have a set of values, say 0 to 9 or 0, 1, 2 or yes or no or whatever. So it has got discrete set of values, and that's why it is called a classification. Okay, so supervised learning, where the pattern of the data is known, there are two subsets in that. So one is called the regression, okay, and the other is called the classification. So these are the two subsets of supervised learning. Any questions on classification?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
The next thing which we are going to talk about is unsupervised learning. So what do you mean by unsupervised learning logically? Anybody can make a logical guess.
Do
What
not
is
have a fixed pattern of data.
correct? So it does not have any fixed pattern, right? So you have to derive the pattern from the data. The pattern is not known in advance, okay? And that is where you use a concept called clustering. So what clustering does is it will it will do a grouping based on common behavior. For example, if I say that I have a data which says that age-wise, what is the product behavior pattern, product buying behavior of people, right? So I will have, say, person of 18 years have got this product behavior, product 19 has got this product behavior. So I can group people based on people having similar product behavior, okay, based on either age or based on sex or whatever. So I can group them into what is called a cluster. Okay, it is called a cluster. So I group the people, people based on their behavior. So all the people with common behaviors will be one cluster. All the people with another set of behaviors will be second cluster. People with another set of behaviors will be third cluster. So using clustering, the algorithm, what it will do, it will study the data, it will try to group the data based on common attributes. Okay, this is called clustering. And the second one, which is most important, is learning association. And learning association is basically, we talked about the movie and product recommended systems, right?
Yes.
So this is an example of unsupervised learning. Okay, so in the case of supervised learning, we had regression and classification where the data pattern is known. In the case of unsupervised learning, where the data pattern is not known, you form a cluster where you group data based on common attributes. Okay, and the second one is learning association, where you have a recommender engine which will recommend like your movie recommendation or your product recommendation. Okay, so
Sir,
any
can
question?
you give hello, sir?
Yeah.
Can you give example of regression? Because as you told, it depends. It is independent of the input, na. So how we know that there is a continuous
No, it's not.
pattern?
I didn't say it is not it regression. The pattern of the data is known. It's not independent. I'm saying your x is a independent variable. See, y and x is always one is an independent and one is a dependent variable. Correct? Okay.
Yes.
So, for example, if I got age and salary, so which is the dependent variable and which is the independent variable? If I have got data which has say 21 years, 10,000 rupees, I get this data from a customer, 24, 30,000 rupees, 27, 25, 40,000 rupees. Sorry. So if I have this data, which is my dependent variable? Now, first of all, is this a regression data or a classification data? Tell me that.
Classification.
Regression.
Regression.
Somebody told me classification. Can you justify why it is just classification? Who said classification? Or somebody can justify why it is regression?
Sir, it is regression because it is dependent. As the age is changes, salary also changes.
So which is the
That's why.
dependent variable and which is the
Sir,
independent variable?
Age is the independent variable and salary is the dependent variable.
Anybody else? Anybody has any different comments on this? Is age independent or dependent? Anybody?
Independent.
Age
Sir.
Age is
Independent.
independent.
Correct. The age is
Age is
independent variable
independent.
and your salary is dependent.
Salary is dependent.
Okay. So that's to answer your question. So when I'm saying regression means your y is dependent on x. Even in classification, y is also dependent on x. Okay. And you know the pattern of the data, right? Okay. So what was your question? If I don't know whether I've answered you correctly. Have I answered you correct? Have I answered your question? Who was the girl? Who was the lady who had talked about what is the question?
Yes, sir. I was asking that when you're telling that there is a continuous pattern,
Mm-hmm.
so since the value of x is changing, then how come there is a continuous pattern in regression?
Because your y is also changing, no? Your y is continuous. Your output is continuous.
Okay. Okay,
Your
sir.
y is see, ultimately you want output. When you
Yes.
do a prediction in machine learning, always remember you are predicting the output, that is y.
Okay. Like, sir, in classification, we know that like there are two options, yes or no. So we know that there is a continuous pattern going on for the output. But in regression, we can enter any value of x, which is independent value.
Correct.
So how come we know that that y will follow a pattern?
Because
How come?
because I got a linear equation here, right? It's a linear regression.
Yeah.
When I
Okay.
have a linear regression, it is a straight line, right?
Yes. Yes.
So if my x varies, my y, I know the y will have a specific value if I follow the straight line.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay.
Understood.
So
Yes,
that's
sir.
why, so your y depends on x. Okay. So always remember in machine learning, when you're predicting, you're not predicting an independent variable. You're always predicting a dependent variable, which is your output. Always remember that.
Okay.
Your independent variables are inputs, or
Yes.
and your output is your dependent variable. Okay, always remember
Okay.
that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so have you now understood what is regression and what is supervised learning and what is unsupervised learning, right? Okay. The third, very important, is the reinforcement learning. I will not get into detail of this, okay, but the robot, the robotics which you have today, which you see in most of the shop floors in Japan, for example, if you see most of the shop floors in Japan are having robots which are actually operating the machines or operating the basically managing the operations in a machine. Okay, they're all algorithms using reinforcement learning, right? How many of you are? How many of you play chess?
Almost everyone.
You are the CR, or what? You know everybody.
Yeah, even I play.
Yes, sir, even I
Okay,
play.
I'm just joking. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I don't know whether you guys are very young, but obviously, probably this guy. If you have heard a guy called Gary Kasparov, okay, he was
Yes.
one of the world champions. I think even before Vishwanath Anand came in, right? And so Gary Kasparov was one of the world champions. Okay, and there was a machine called Deep Blue from IBM. And this was a chess playing machine. Okay? And the IBM challenged Gary Kasparov to play against the machine. And Gary Kasparov took up that challenge. Okay. So he played against the machine, and obviously, you would have thought that Gary Kasparov, I mean, he's a human being. A human is smarter than a machine, right? We always say a human is smarter than a machine, correct? You would have won. But surprisingly, the machine defeated Gary Kasparov. Just imagine the power of that machine. Okay, that particular machine was trained for last 15 years on different combination of chess moves. Okay, so there was lot of data which was given to that machine, and that machine was getting trained, and depending on the various types of combination of moves you play, it used to come out with the best move. That's how it was trained to that extent. So whenever Gary Kasparov used to play a move, internally it used to basically mine the data and try to say which is the best move it should play in the next, which is the best move it should play in the next, the
Step.
optimum move, right? And that's how the machine basically defeated the particular human being. Did anybody had a question?
No, sir.
Okay, so basically this is how it is works. And the reinforcement learning, let's take the case of self-driving cars. You know, how do what do you see in a self-driving car? What all must be there in the self-driving cars? Can anybody tell me what all is there in a self-driving car? What are the things will be available if you see a car which is without a driver?
Sensor, motion sensors.
Sensors.
LiDAR sensor.
What all will be there in the self-driving car? Huh?
LiDAR sensor.
Yes, there will be sensors,
Different type of sensors.
different types of sensors.
Infrared
Then
sensor.
there'll be cameras,
Camera.
GPS.
LiDAR.
there'll be GPS, because GPS will basically track where you're going, right? Cameras will capture all the images in front of you. Sensors will basically sense based on whatever you're capturing, right? And these sensors are all basically linked to a machine learning algorithms, right? So sensors are all capturing all. So sensors are all basically, you have the sensors, you have the cameras, the GPS, right? Now what happens is in self-driving cars, when the machine was trained, okay, so the self-driving, so some actually a human being went through a particular track, and the machine was data of the images of that, the path, all the path of the track, if there's any obstacles, all those images were captured, right, in that machine. And then the machine got trained to basically identify whether a path is as an obstacle in the path, or basically it's a clear lane and all that, right? So when you talk of reinforcement learning, there are two things here. One is called a reward. Reward means if there is a self-driving car and he sees an obstacle in front of it, or if he sees a traffic light in front of it which is red, it should stop. So when it stops, or when it stops in front of an obstacle, it gets a reward. It gets a reward point. If that particular self-driving car comes across an obstacle and bangs against it, okay, then what happens? It has a penalty. Okay. So the way the reinforcement learning algorithm works is that it has to come out with the optimum path where it will maximize the rewards and minimize the penalty. Okay, it's a very interesting algorithm. It's a very complex algorithm. I don't want to get into that. I just wanted you to understand the concept of how reinforcement learning works. So it works on the concept of maximizing rewards. That is very, very important. Okay, so today reinforcement learning is used in a lot of places. As I said, self-driving cars, or you're talking about basically robotics, all they work on the concept of self-driving cars. Sorry, reinforcement learning. Okay, so basically there are three types, as I said. Supervised learning. So what all is there within supervised?
Fixed
What all is
pattern,
there within supervised?
Regression and classification.
regression and
Regression and
classification,
classification.
Regression and
Yes, and
classification.
okay, and what do you have in unsupervised?
clustering,
Clustering.
and learning association.
Correct. And the third one is
reinforcement.
reinforcement learning.
Reinforcement learning.
Reinforcement learning.
Okay. Now what we will do is let us run a small quiz. Okay. Now the competition heats up. Let me see how much you have learned. And please be fair. I mean, if your name starts with A, please don't answer for team 2 because you have one of your best friends there. Okay. Please don't do that. So please be fair to yourself and your team. Okay. Now, so we have the three champions. I mean, the three leads. So the three leads should answer. Okay. And internally, you all can discuss group 1. I mean, you should come out with a final answer. Okay. Similarly, Fariha, Mayur, Omar. Okay. You are representative of your own teams. Each of the team will be asked to answer the question. It will be multiple choice. So there could be one right answer. There could be multiple right answers. Okay. And then you are supposed, so all the three teams will be asked the question, and the first team which gives the right answer will get a point. Very simple, right? Okay. So we'll start with group 1. Group 1, you are ready? Fariha and team?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Tell me, Fariha and team, which are the examples of machine learning applications?
Prediction model,
Google search, chatbot.
That was team A.
Yes.
yes,
No,
sir.
first group 1. So what is the
Group
group 1?
Language
So
translator.
your answer is A, C, and D, right?
Yes.
Give me the options. A, C, and D.
Yes.
Very good. Team B. Team B, what is the answer?
Sir, ABCD for all of
Team
this,
B
sir.
is A, B, C, D.
All
Okay,
of
very good. Team C.
Yeah.
All of them,
Sir,
sir.
all of the above.
If a particular team says, that all of the above, and if I say very good, that doesn't mean that team C also should say the same thing as team B, right?
No, sir.
No, sir, but all of them are examples of machine learning.
Okay. So I will tell you. So is prediction model an application or a model? I'm talking about example of machine learning application. I didn't ask you about any model. Right? So this is the mistake that we have done. We are thinking prediction model is an application. No, it's a model. It's a model to predict future data based on past data. Okay, there is something called time and time series analysis. Okay, we'll not get into that, but it is basically a model. Fraud detection, yes, we saw one of the machine learning applications. Google search, yes. Chatbot, yes. Right. So the answer is B, C, and D. Okay. So now team B, are you ready, team B? Give me the answer
Sir.
for the second one. What are the
Sir,
various
A,
machine
B,
learning
and D.
types? A, B, and D.
ABD.
Very good,
Yeah,
very
sir.
good. And team C?
A, B, and D, sir.
And team A?
A, B, and D.
A, B, and D.
ABD.
Sorry?
A, B, and D.
A, D.
Sir, no,
A,
only
B,
A and D.
and
A
D.
and D.
AD.
A and D.
A
A
and
and
D.
D.
A and D.
A and
Supervised
D.
Yes,
learning
sir.
and
A
reinforcement
and
learning.
D.
A and D.
A and D.
A and D.
A and D. A and
Sir,
D.
team A का आंसर है A and D.
टीम ए का
Yes, sir.
आंसर है ए एंड डी और टीम बी
A
का
and
आंसर
D.
क्या था? ए
Yes,
डी
sir.
था ना?
Same for the
A, B, D था.
टीम बी का ए बी डी था और टीम सी का?
A and D.
A and D.
So team C has changed their answers based on team A's inputs. क्या?
No, sir.
Yes.
No, sir. ABD, ABD.
Yes, sir.
No, sir. We say.
So don't change your answers because some of your best friends are there in other team. Okay, please give your independent answers. So the answer is, I really appreciate team B. This is a lot of people who make mistakes because generally I would have said, okay, because I don't see unsupervised learning. So I will say supervised learning and reinforcement learning, but learning association is a subset of unsupervised learning. Okay, so answer is absolutely right. Supervised learning and this. So the team B, you get 1 point. Okay.
Sir, team A na.
Sir, team C.
Then
Sir,
I said
team
the
A.
first team who gives the correct answer, and team C तो fluctuate करता है. Team C तो पहला ABD बोलता है फिर AD बोलता है. So I don't trust team C.
Yes, sir. Sir, team A ने पहले दिया.
No. Team. It was first for team B. The second question is for team B because we are going in turns, and team B told me ABD. So I think it is fair for Mayur and team to get 1 point. Okay. So Mayur, you are leading. So be happy. Okay. Okay, great. Now team C. Okay, I have not come to this. So okay, only the first two questions. So any questions at this point about what are the machine learning applications? What are the machine learning types? Any questions anybody has? What are the tools available? So are you clear on this?
So can you repeat reinforcement learning?
Okay, so reinforcement learning is essentially works on like examples of robots, or you have self-driving cars. So reinforcement learning works on the principle of maximizing rewards. That means it will try when
Sir, what is meaning of rewards?
Reward is basically a concept in machine learning. Whenever a person comes through an obstacle, and it basically, if that obstacle is if it stops, if it is doing the right action, if the action is correct in the sense that it is stopping before the obstacle, that means it is a reward. Okay, and if it is not stopping in front of the obstacle, that means it gets a negative point. Okay, so the machine is trained
penalty.
so the machine trained in such a way that you have to maximize the rewards. Okay, so it's a different concept. It is a different thing. You just understand the concept. Okay, the reinforcement works. So basically, it is learning every time and again, and as and when it made you, and the machine is most optimum when the rewards is maximum. Just understand this concept as of now. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so typically there are tools called Anaconda. Anaconda is one of the tools you can download from the website. It's called the Anaconda Navigator, right? It has got various tools, like it has got Jupyter Notebook, it has got Python Spider, It has also got R languages. Okay, and for this, for my exercise, I will show it to you on Python Spider. Okay, I will execute some scripts and show it to you. Okay, I don't know whether you have downloaded it on your machine or not. I think I've already sent those details. If you have done it, well and good. If you have not, also don't worry. This data will be with you. All this data has been given to you. Whenever you get some time, you can practice.
Yes,
Okay?
sir. I have downloaded.
Okay, great. Now I'm going to explain to you what is a workflow. Okay, now please understand this. Very, very important. Okay, understand this concept. If you don't understand, I will explain again, but please try to understand this concept. Now typically a person with machine learning experience is okay, suppose I'm a data scientist. We already know the word data scientist is used in the machine learning, right? A data scientist is somebody who has experience in machine learning projects, right? Who has actually done a lot of machine learning projects. Okay, now suppose I am the CEO of a company. Okay, I have got some data of my age and salary of my employees. Okay, and I'm approaching a data scientist, okay, a company, and I'm asking the data scientist to come out with a model which will predict the output based on this actual data. So why do I want to model? So that next time if somebody has got an age, the model should automatically tell me what is the expected salary. Okay, the model should give me the accurate answer. So suppose I've got, this is my I'm assuming your with age your salary is going to increase, which generally happens unless there are some exceptions. Okay, 35,000. Assuming that there are thousands of records, I'm just giving 1,000 records. Okay. Now, the first thing what you have to do is you have to pre-process the data. When you say pre-process, what happens is that many a times the data which comes is never correct or never complete. You may have some junk data, you may have some missing data, you may have some null data, for example, right? So you may want to first take care of this null, missing data, or whatever junk data you want, right? So for example, if you got some missing data, you may want to go back to your client and say that, boss, you have given me a data where say salary is missing or age is missing. So how do I take? I see. One thing is very important. You should have perfect data. Okay, and all the data should be correct, because then only the model will give a right prediction. Okay, so you should have ensure that you as a part of pre-processing, you remove missing data. That means if there's a missing data, you get it from the client and ask him to put the right data. If there's a null data, if the client says, okay, nahin, null data hai, so I don't have the value, then you can do one thing. You can tell the client whether I should delete that data or not. Okay, if the client says okay, then what you can do, you can delete that particular data. But in generally in industry, the last thing you should do is delete the data. You should never delete the data. Okay, if a situation comes where you have to delete it, then fine, you can do it, but otherwise you should try to avoid. Okay, once you have pre-processed the data, now you have got something, a clean data. Okay, the second step what you will do is you will divide the data set, the processed data, into training set and test set. So why this is required is, what happens is that you have training data. Why you want to split the data? What happens is, in typical industry, suppose you got 1,000 records, say 80% of the data, say 800 records, you will use for training, and 200 records you use for tests. So what is the idea is, when you train the model, you train the model with the training data. And once the model is trained and it is learned through experience and come out with a pattern, then you test the efficiency of the model using the test data. So you have 80%, for example, is suppose you have 1,000 records. If you have 80%, you decide whether it's going to be 80% or 20%, whatever. Typically, what happens in the industry, your training data should be greater than equal to 70%. Okay, but it can never be 100%. Remember one thing: you cannot have any model with zero testing data. No, you need to have some test data, which typically may vary from 30% to 10%. Okay, and this may vary from 70% to 90%. Okay, so what happens is this training data, so why you want to split this data? You will first you take the training data and train the model or the machine to come out with the pattern. Once you have come out with the pattern, then you use the test data to test the efficiency of the model, whether it is giving a proper prediction of the output. Okay, so now once you have done this split, like suppose I have training data is say 700 records, I say 70%, and my test data is 300 records. Okay, now what I will do is that I will take the training data. That means I will take my X and Y both, my independent variable and my dependent variable, which is age and salary, and I will train the model with the training data and come out with a pattern. It will come out with a pattern. Once you come out with the pattern, then what you do, you take the test data, or you can call it you have a test data. You take the independent variable. You take the independent variable of the test data. Okay, and you feed it into the model. Once you feed the test data, the independent variable into the model, then the model should predict the output or the dependent variable. This is a predicted value. The model is predicting the output and it is called the predicted output. Okay, so I will say Y predict, very simple, Y predict. Okay, once I do this, I will compare Y actual test data with Y predict. If my Y actual is close to Y predict, or sorry, I'll put the other way. If Y predict is close to Y actuals, which means my model is efficient. Okay, if Y predict is not close to Y actual, means this model is not efficient. It is there's something wrong in the model. Okay, have you guys understood the steps? It's a very important, which is when you talk about workflow, you have to understand this concept. If you understand this concept, then it is easy to write any algorithm, any Python script. I'm going to ask one member from each team to give me an answer, to explain me this. Okay, first of all, have you guys understood? Anybody who has not understood from any of the teams? Because I'm going to ask, I'm going to randomly, yeah.
Can you just explain the steps again?
Okay, sure. So what we did, so I am the HR company. Okay, I have got this salary and data. Okay, and I'm approaching a data scientist who is told to come out with a model which will predict the output. Okay, in line with the actual data. So what I will do is, suppose I got 1,000 records. The first thing I will do is I will pre-process the data. That means if wherever I got some so I will clean the data. So if there is some missing data or junk or any null data, I need to take care of that. Okay, that is number one. So I have a clean data at the end of pre-processing. Once I do the data pre-processing, I divide my process data into a training set and a test set. Now, why do I divide? Because my training set is one which I'm going to train the model. Once I train it, then I will use my test set to check whether my model is efficient. Okay, so what I will do is typically 70%, 30% or 80%, 20%. That's what, but the idea is maximum data should be go for training set and less of that, less percentage should go for test set. Now, having done that, suppose I've got 70%, 700 records are for my training set and test set there are 300 records out of 1000, correct? Now, what I will do is I will feed my age and salary of the 700 records into the model. The model will be trained and through experience, it will come out with a pattern. Okay. Once it comes out with a pattern of the output, then I will take the independent variable of the test data, which is the age. Okay. I will take the test data 300 records. I will feed into the model and it will predict the salary. It will predict the salary. Okay. Now, one is predict the salary. I will compare the Y actual salary of the test data with the Y predicted salary, which is coming out of the model. From the model. And if the Y predict is close to Y actuals, means my model is efficient. Did you understand? Anybody?
Yes, sir. Understood.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Understood.
Okay. So now I'm going to catch any person from each group and they will get a mark if they give me the right answer. Okay. And I'll ask some questions in between also. Okay. Now what I will do is, where is the team? Okay. From team A, Adil Sheikh, are you there? Adil Sheikh, are you there? What happened, Adil? You have kept quiet or you don't get disconnected, huh? You're there, na, Adil Sheikh?
He has a problem with his mic.
Okay. Akansha?
Yes, sir.
Akansha, you're there? Okay. 1 minute. I'm
Yes,
giving
sir.
you Pranav Wagmare, he has left. Okay, I don't know why, is maybe an internet issue. 1 minute. So what I will do, one thing is, I'll give you some data. I'm not using the same data. You have to tell me. Okay. So you can, so Akansha, I'm giving you data here. 1 minute. Okay. Okay. Now my data is country, age, sex, and person buying a car. Yes or no? Okay. So I have a data where I have, so I am an automotive company. Yeah. So I have captured
Yes, sir.
in my internet site or through my survey that in a particular country, for a particular profile of a person based on his age and sex, whether the person is going to buy my new brand of car. I am getting that data. And I want to go to a data scientist who will come out with a model. Okay. So what you have to do is you have to start with a problem statement. Tell me what is the flow. Okay. Now, first of all, tell me, is this, what sort of data is this? Is this reinforcement learning data or this is clustering data?
Reinforcement.
Sorry?
Reinforcement.
If I give you two options, you will choose from that only, or what? क्यों ऐसा क्यों करते हो आप लोग? Why don't you think differently? This, Why you saying it is reinforcement? Now, if I tell you whether it's a regression or it is a
So it is
unsupervised.
classification.
Correct.
Yes,
It is classification data. Why are you saying it's reinforcement? So please don't go whatever choices I gave. Okay, please think outside of that, because I am going to confuse you every time. So please don't go by whatever I say. Don't trust your lecturer. Okay, your the instructor. Okay, always think differently than your instructor. Okay. Okay, tell me. So this is a classification data. So Akansha, you are a data scientist, and I am the automotive company. Okay, and I'm approaching you, and I'm asking you to come out with a model. So what will you do first? Tell me the steps. अरे यार 1 minute. मैं आपको स्टेप दिखा ही रहा हूँ. ठीक है चलो. Tell me, Akansha. Tell me, Akansha, what are you going to do? Akansha, you're there or no?
Sir, I don't know.
अरे, what do you mean I don't know? अभी पूरा सिखाया, अभी तुम बोल रहे हो अभी सिखाया नहीं, मालूम नहीं. Why? I asked you right whether you have understood or not.
So can I say from group A?
What's your name?
Fariha.
Okay, Faria, go ahead.
First step we will do is we will pre-process the data. That is, if there is any junk or some wrong statements or wrong data, we can clean it, and then we will divide the data in two sets, that is training set and test set, and we will, and maximum of that data we will divide it as from 70 to 90%. We will keep it in training set and the other rest of that in test set.
Okay.
And
now tell me one thing. What's your name? Sorry, Farida, no? Sorry.
Fariha.
Fariha, sorry. Please pardon me for this name because I don't remember names. Okay.
It's okay,
So
sir.
Fariha, tell me which is the dependent variable and which is the independent variable?
Independent variable. Sir, can you repeat the question?
So which of these? There are 4 variables, right? 4 columns, correct? So
Yes.
which is the independent variable and which is the dependent variable?
Person buying a car, yes or no, is dependent. No, independent.
Person buying the car is independent. Which is dependent?
Sir, I guess everything is independent on each other.
Actually, I'm confused.
Wait. Let Faria answer. No, hold on.
Okay, sir.
Let her answer. Yeah, Faria, you said very correctly that this is a classification data, correct?
Yes.
So when you say classification data, there'll be an output which is continuous, correct?
No, it is discrete in the form of.
Chalo, you have understood what I'm saying. Okay, so it is discrete. So which one is discrete value?
Yes or no is the discrete value.
So that column is what? Is it independent or dependent variable?
It is dependent variable.
Are you confident or you're just guessing?
Sir, I'm just guessing.
So I can make out you're guessing or not. Why you're guessing? I'm saying output is always dependent variable, correct?
Sir, actually, when you were explaining that, I have disconnected.
So how will I know you have disconnected? आप लोग डिस्कनेक्ट हो जाते तो
सर बट वो आपने जो समझाए थे क्लासिफिकेशन वाला वो तो समझ गया था यस और नो
तो ये वही है ना तो अलग क्या बात है फिर so out of these which is the your output is always remember output is independent variable ये मन में रख लो आप लोग please keep it in your mind output is always dependent and your inputs are independent keep this in your mind always okay. So in this case So what is your so person buying a car is what? Independent or dependent?
Dependent.
Dependent.
Then I am asking Farah, yaar, please don't answer. मैं सबको chance दूंगा. Please don't represent her. Okay, tell me, you all, Farah, what is it?
Person
Which
buying a car.
which is the dependent variable?
Person buying a car.
You're convinced now, or you're still shaky?
You're still confused.
Why are you confused? Okay, who
So
was
please, can you again explain it?
See, the person buying a car depends on the country, depends on the age, and depends on the sex. Correct? So, what is my output? My output is person buying a car. So, my person buying a car is the independent variable.
Oh.
And country, age, and sex are the independent variables. You got what I'm saying now?
Country, age, and sex are independent, and person buying a car is dependent.
Yes, because your person buying a car is dependent on the country of the person where he's staying, the age, and the sex.
Okay.
So if person buying a car is dependent on something, so that's a dependent variable. While country, age, and sex are independent variables because my country doesn't depend on the person buying a car or not. It's the other way, right?
Yes, sir.
So it is always so the dependent variable is y. Okay. Okay. So now you know. Now you are convinced which is dependent independent variable, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now let you. Okay, you stop there. I will talk to somebody else. Aniket, you got a chance? Aniket, you're back? Aniket has still got issues? 1 minute, 1 minute. Ajit Kale, you're there? Ajit, you're there? Again, now don't tell me that you have a problem with your video or with the audio. Hello? When it comes to answering a question, सब लोग बोलते हैं मेरा audio नहीं चलता है. Ajit Kale, are you there? Where is the lead? Who is the lead for team A?
Sir, me, Fariha.
Fariha. Okay, Fariha. Please, why don't you check with Ajit Kale where he is?
Sir, he is not responding.
See, when somebody is asking, when you're asked a question, people stop responding. Okay, Abhishek Patange, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Abhishek, tell me. So now Fariha has told about the data, what type of data it is. Now you tell me, she has told about the data pre-processing, cleaning the data. Then what do you do after that?
When I get the data of two types, training and test data, the test data I will re-input the test data to get the output.
अरे यार तुमने मॉडल को बिना ट्रेन करके टेस्ट डेटा डाल दिया, कैसे करोगे आप? You have got a clean process data, correct?
Yes.
Now what do you do after the clean process data?
I will I will make the machine learn by the training data, and then I will input the test data.
So what do you feed in? So suppose you got 80% training data and 20% test data. So in the model or machine, what do you feed into the model? Which fields, which columns you feed into the, which of the 4 fields you feed into the model of the training data?
Sir, please repeat, sir, question.
You have 4 fields here, right? Country, age, sex, and person buying a car, yes or no, correct?
Yes.
Where the person buying a car is your dependent variable and country, age, and sex are independent variables. Are you convinced on that?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you split the overall data into test set and training set. correct? So training set say 80%, test set is 20%, correct?
Yes.
Now, so what data goes for training into the model? So which data you're going to feed into the model? Which of the 4 columns of the training data?
All are going in training now.
Correct. So why you, that's right. So you're going to, all the 4 fields you will feed into the training data, into the model. Okay.
Yes.
Then what you will do?
Then I will get conclusion and I will make machine learn from that data.
Correct. After that?
And then I will feed the training test data and will take answer output.
So what test data, what from the test data you will feed into the model?
Whatever I have the question about any country, age, and after getting the answer, I will compare it.
Mike, you're not answering my question. You're not answering my question. My question is, which of the 4 fields you are feeding it into the model from the test data?
Country, age, and sex.
Okay. Then what do you predict?
Yes or no, person buying or car or not.
Okay. After that?
And then I will compare it with the real life situation if he is or is not.
Is he's or
If
not
he
what?
is
He's buying the car, correct?
or not, yes.
Okay, so a lot of echo is happening. Okay. Yeah, okay. Then if the predicted and actual value matches, then what does it mean?
It means our experiment is in correct direction. If not, then we have to try it again.
Correct. So your model is efficient if your predicted and actual value is close to each other. Correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Good. So I will give 1 point to team A. One minute. What happened to this? So Fariha's team gets 1 point. Okay, now let us go to team 2. Team 2 में कौन है? Up to N. Raj Pawar, you're there? Sorry, not Raj. My mistake. Nitesh Patipaka. Nitesh, you're there? Mayur, please check with Nitesh. Again, he has vanished or what? Mayur, please check with Nitesh.
Sir, I think he is not responding.
Mayur, where is Nitesh?
Sir, I think he is not responding.
So okay, no problem, no problem. Who else is there? Gibran Khan, yeah, HIJ. Yeah, Gibran Khan, you're there? When it comes to answer questions, people keep quiet. ऐसा क्यों भाई? You'll all learn ना. What is the problem?
सर आधे लोगों ने बीच में ज्वाइन किया
हाँ?
सर स्टार्टिंग में जगह नहीं मिली आधे लोग जो अगले ना वो बीच में ज्वाइन किए
बीच में ज्वाइन किया है ऐसा कैसे भाई? ओके
सर फुल हो गया था ना बाद में कुछ लोगों ने लेफ्ट किया
ओके लेट मी ओके हार्दिक you are there? Hardik Bhere?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Hardik, I am giving you one setup problem. So I have this data. Okay, so I have the floor on which I stay, the square feet of the house, how proximity of the houses to the mall, how proximity of the house to your railway station, and the price of the house. So what is this data? Is it a reinforcement learning data or a unsupervised data?
Unsupervised.
Why is it
Supervised.
unsupervised? Why is it unsupervised? Anybody else from team B? Anybody else from team B? What is this data? Anybody from team A or team C? Anybody, chalo, from the group. What sort of data is this?
Sir, supervised classification.
Why you are saying supervised classification?
Sir, because it is same as above data, na?
Same
So
as
there
above
are
data.
no output variables.
Yeah, tell me, what was the answer? Why it is
So
why we say
there are no
classification?
output variables.
There is no output. Why there is no
Price of
output?
house is output.
Who said that? Price of the house is output?
Me.
It is discrete.
The me means what? Tell me the name. I don't know who is me.
Abhishek batenge.
Abhishek. Why you are saying it is? Why you are saying price of the house is output?
As it is dependent on the three factors.
Okay. So what of? So this is a classification data, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Very nice. Who has got other opinion?
Sir, I guess it is regression because there are many मतलब प्राइस जो है अलग अलग हो सकते हैं ना, इसके सिर्फ एक या दो प्राइस थोड़ी हो सकते हैं.
Who was
Yes.
that? Who was that?
दत्तात्रेय जामखंडे.
So Dattatreya, you are from team A. Oh, take it. Right. Absolutely
Yes,
right.
sir.
Absolutely right. This is a multivariate regression.
Yes, multivariate.
Why multivariate regression? Because you got multiple independent variables.
It's continuous also.
Yeah. And the output, which is price of the car, sorry, price of the house, is continuous.
Continuous.
Okay. So this is how you will identify whether it's a regression data and this. And guys, whenever I give you an option, right, in reinforcement या unsupervised, वो option तो पकड़ो ही मत, दूसरा सोचो. Because I will always mislead you. That is the first hint I give you all, and फिर भी आप लोग वही पकड़ते हो. चलो reinforcement होगा. Okay, I give you hints not to take my words, and you're taking my words. Don't do that. Okay. So who was the guy who was speaking? कौन था? हार्दिक ना? कौन था? Team B से कौन था?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, Hardik. So now you know it's a multivariate regression data, correct? Are you convinced or no?
Yes, sir.
Hardik, are you convinced or you're not convinced? Or you're like, what? She was also a bit hesitant, right? Initially, Fariha. Are you confident that this is a regression data? Or you're not confident? If you're not confident, you whatever workflow you tell me, you will not be convinced. Are you convinced that this is a multivariate regression?
Yes.
All of you are convinced?
Yes,
Hardik, are
sir.
you convinced?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Hardik,
sir.
are you convinced? Hardik,
Sir,
are you convinced?
your voice is breaking.
Sorry.
Yes, sir.
So Hardik, you're convinced it is continuous, right?
Sir,
It
voice
is,
break कर रहा था. I'm
yeah, I'm saying, are you convinced that this is a multivariate regression?
yes, sir.
Okay, great. Now you go ahead and tell me the steps. You have this data and you have been given, you are a data scientist, you have been asked to come out with a model. What do you do? Hardik, you're on mute if you're talking. Acha, you're sending me on chat. Why did you talk it? Why did you call out? Hardik? What happened to Hardik? Team lead, what happened to him? Is he sending something on chat or what? Dattatra, you are supposed to tell me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
There is no question in chat box also.
Yeah, who is Arth Chauhan?
Arjavan tried to answer.
But Arth, okay. No, but I would like. Okay, but what happened to Harish? What is his name? What happened to him? Arth is from team A.
Har-
I want team. I want
yes,
team
sir.
B. I want team B. What happened to what happened to this guy? Chalo, who is the team lead for team B? Mayur.
Mayur.
Come on, tell me. Tell me. Continue from the time you have the data. You are convinced that this is multi-regression. You are convinced, correct?
Yeah.
Multivariate regression. You are convinced, correct? Okay, now go ahead and tell me.
So first we will clean the data. Then we split
Okay.
out into training data and test data.
What is the percentage of training? What is the percentage of test?
So training data is 70%, test data is 30%.
Okay, fine. In your case, fine. Okay.
And so we will analyze the training data. Means we will put this training data into structure.
You will feed the training data where?
In a table.
Not table. You don't feed into table. You feed into the model or the machine, right? To train the machine, correct?
Yes.
So which of the fields
Yes.
you send to the machine? Which of these columns you send to the model for training?
So for first floor square feet, rocks to mall and rocks to railway station.
Only 4 you feed of the training data.
Yes, sir.
Why?
So because 3 of they are independent and 1 of they are dependent.
No, but when you're feeding into the training model, are you not going to feed all the dependent and independent variables?
So no. Just independent variable first 3.
No. Again, you're not getting it. When you are going to train the model, you need to feed all the columns. Why you are only taking the independent variables? You have to first train the model, right? So the model should be able to predict the price of the
Yes, sir.
house.
Yes, sir.
Based on the training data, the model should come out with a pattern. So you will input floor, square feet, proximity to mall, proximity to railway station, and price of the house. All the 5 variables. Right?
Yes, I understand.
Are you convinced what I said?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay. So now you train the model. After that, once the model is trained, what you will do?
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah, tell me. Yeah.
Sir, regression is supervised learning. So we will train the data and we will collect all the data and we will make a pattern and accordingly we'll get the price of the house. Like price of the house depends on these 3 factors. So we'll make a continuous pattern and we'll get the price of the house. Then why we are testing it? Like we have to only train it now because it is regression, supervised learning.
See,
Or we have to test it.
irrespective of regression or classification or anything, you need to have a training set and you need to have a test set. Your
Okay.
training set is for training the model so that it comes out with a proper pattern, and your test set is to check the efficiency of the model.
Okay. So like if we feed some data in this, that like the three factors, and we'll get a pattern that if the house is of 1 BHK, then this is the price of 2 BHK, and this is the price and proximity from railway station. So we are feeding it. Then
Correct.
accordingly, if someone wants to buy it, then he or she can buy from that data. Na? Then
No.
what we are doing in testing that,
Yeah.
I'm
So
not
again,
understanding.
let me make you the concept clear. Here, the point is you already have actual data.
Yes.
You already have actual data. You know that this is the floor, this is the square feet, this is the proximity, price is 10,000. Another floor, ninth floor, square feet 300, proximity to mall, yes or no, price is 2 crores. You already have thousands of data. You
Okay.
already have actual data. Now you want a model to predict any future data that comes from you. So you want the model to predict instead of a human predicting. That's why you're talking about machine learning, which will predict on behalf of the human being.
Okay.
Correct. So you want the machine to predict. So when you're feeding all these fields to the model, the training data, including the price of the house, the model will go through all the data, learn through experience, come out with a pattern that based on this combination, this is the price of the house. Then
Okay.
when you feed the test data, when you feed the independent variables of the test data, then the model, based on its past pattern it has come out, it will predict the house
Okay,
price.
sir.
And then you will compare the house price with the actual house price.
Okay.
Because you want the model to represent the actual data. That is why you're talking about machine learning. You
Yes,
want
sir.
to, now you got it, what I said.
Yes, sir.
Is
So
it
in both,
clear?
yeah, in any case, we should have both training data also and test data also. Training
Always.
data is the actual one, and test data is for future. That
No,
uh,
no, 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 no. Again, you're getting mistaken. Your
oh,
training data, suppose you've got 1,000 records of
yeah.
actual data. So you will have 700, 70% says 700 records of actual data as training data, 300 records of actual data as test data. That 700 records of actual data you feed into the model and train the model and let it come out with a pattern.
Yes, sir.
Then you take the 300 records of test data, actual test data. You feed the independent variables of the actual test data into the model and predict the price of the house. And then you compare the predicted out of the house with the actual data, right? If the model is efficient, imagine there are 1 million records, and tomorrow you get some new set of records of floor, square feet, proximity mall, and so on. The model will do the prediction instead of you doing it. So the builder or the construction company, based on the machine learning model, will tell you the price based on the model. It will not calculate the price. The human being will not calculate the price. The model will calculate the price on your behalf.
Okay. Okay, sir.
You,
Understood.
you got what I'm saying now?
Yes, sir.
Very good question you have asked. What's your good name?
Urvashi
Aishwarya.
Jha. Urvashi.
Urvashi. Urvashi. Good. I think it's good you're clarifying this. I'm very happy you're asking this question. All of you have understood what I explained just now. It's a very, very valid
Yes, sir.
question
Yes,
by
sir.
Urvashi.
Yes, sir.
Why
Very
Right.
good.
why we are having why she has very right question saying that why the test data should be a future data. No, your test data also should be your actual current data. So tomorrow, once the model is perfect, when I have a new set of data coming in, then the model should be able to predict me the price of the house.
Yes, sir.
So have you got this concept clear? Very, very important. Please understand. You need to have actual data available for a machine to train, to learn, and predict an output. So that if your model is perfect, for any future data that's coming into the model will do that prediction for you.
Yes, sir. Understood.
Okay, is that clear to everybody? Okay, yeah. So again, the concept is same. So we talked about, so So now we are more or less clear about the workflow. So team B also I will give them 1 to be fair to all. Okay. And Urvashi, since you're part of team C, you have asked very nice questions. I will give you team 1 on behalf of team C. Okay. Very nice questions you asked. Okay. So everybody gets 1 point. And I will also give team C, group C 1 point. Okay. Anyway, now the lead is team B. So I want somebody to, so team B to team A and team C to catch up. Okay. Okay. Till this point, any doubts? You have understood everything till the workflow, right? Any questions? Please ask now.
Sir, one question is asked from Manje Abhishek in chat box.
Yeah, what is the question? 1 minute.
What type of learning is that?
Which one?
Last one.
So reinforcement learning is again, as I said, it is more on the robotic side. It's nothing to do with regression. Regression is different. Classification is different. So as I said, reinforcement learning is a different topic altogether. Okay, this cannot be a reinforcement learning. This is the supervised data, and we talked about the regression, what we showed you now. Okay, Abhishek. Okay, reinforcement was we talked about the rewards. We said, so you guys get some time, do some research on reinforcement learning. Okay, do Google and all that. Okay. Is that okay, Abhishek? Okay, okay. Now let's go back. Okay. Now, as part of the data pre-processing steps, these are the following things you have to do. Okay. When you write a Python script, the first and important thing you have to do is you have to import some Python libraries. These are the libraries you require, which is very important for you to do any machine learning, to write any machine learning program. Okay. Number 2, you have to do importing the data set. So you will have some data, actual data, right, which you want to train the machine. So you have to import the data, and then you have to decide what is your X variable and what is a Y variable. So you have to categorize your data set into X variable. Once you import the data, you have to basically know which is the X variable and which is your Y variable. Okay. X is your independent and Y is your dependent output variable. Then you take care of any missing data, that is part of data pre-processing. Then you do a data categorization, which again I will talk to you. Then we already talked to you about splitting data into training and test set. Splitting the data into training and test set, which I already talked to you earlier. And feature scaling. Okay, feature scaling is also another data pre-processing steps. So I told you about the data pre-processing steps before you get into the model. So these are the various steps you have to follow. Okay, so let us go one by one. Now you guys must be all aware of how object-oriented programming works. So first and important thing, you have to import all the libraries, right, which you want to use for your program. So the 3 important libraries that we use are the NumPy, okay, which is basically for numeric calculations. You use a library called matplotlib.pyplot, which is mainly for graphs. You use pandas, which is basically for importing your data set. Okay, so when you do a data set, you use the data set, you use the pandas class. Okay, so once you import the libraries, the next thing that you have to do is importing the data set. Okay, now when I'm saying importing the data set, the first, if you see here, data set equal to, it is reading a file, it is reading a Excel file or a comma separated file. Okay, it is reading a comma separated file, and it is splitting the columns into X and Y. Okay, can anybody tell me what does this mean? X equal to data set ilog colon comma colon -1. What does this mean? Anybody? If you're aware of, I don't know how much of you are aware of Python. If you know object oriented also, you should be aware. What should -1?
Starting from the last reverse order.
It is the upper limit of the range.
Okay, let me give an example.
डाटा सेट करना है -1 पे.
Suppose this is your 5 columns in your data: floor, square feet, proximity mall, proximity railway station, and price of the house. Okay, and this is the last column, and these are the first 4 columns. Okay, so when I say x equal to data set I log colon comma colon -1, what does it mean in this case? Which will be the value of x?
How?
Which will be the, what will be the value of x here?
Proximity of mall to mall.
Hmm?
So floor, square feet, proximity to mall, proximity to railway station.
Very good. So you have all the 4 variables as the x. So what does this mean? I've already given you the hint. When I say colon comma is all the rows in my record, and I say colon -1 is all but the last column, all but
Except
the
the
last
last
column, right? So in this case my x will be all except the last column. So it will be all the columns before the last column. Okay, and similarly y equal to data set I log colon 3. What is 3? In this case, let's take this example. In this case, which will be the column price of the house? Will it be 3 or 4 or 5? What is it? Huh?
5th column.
4.
5th column.
Why 4? Why we are saying 4?
Inputs are 4. 4 inputs are there.
No, we are talking of y. This is dependent variable. In dependent variable, I'm saying from the all the rows, take the 4th column. Take the 3rd, sorry, column 3, my mistake, 3. So in this case, if I have floor, square feet, proximity to mall, and proximity railway station, 4 columns, and the 5th is price of the house. So I want to find out y. Y is what? Price of the house. Correct?
Yes.
So what will be the column? Which column will it be here?
5th column. 5th column.
So what will the value here?
5.
It will value 5. Are you sure?
4. 4 sir. 4.
Why 4?
0 से start होता है ना sir.
Correct. Absolutely right. So your column array starts from 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So you will give comma 4 here. So you are assigning x all the values other than the last column, and the y you are assigning the 5th column. If I comma 4 means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is your 5th column.
5th column.
So this is where you are assigning the independent variables and you are assigning the dependent variables after importing the data set. So any questions on these libraries and importing the data set? Okay, fine. So what is the next one? Missing data. Okay, so I am going to execute one script for you. Okay, and then we will see what is the output. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I will go to Python Spider. This is my Python Spider which I will see. Okay, and if you see in this Python Spider, there are 4 main. What happened? Okay, in the Python Spider, you will have 4 main important things. One is the file explorer. Okay, which will have the list of files. You'll have a value explorer. Value explorer has the output of any command that you run, any variables, right? Then you have the place here where you execute your script. Okay, and the output of your script which you're executing is shown on this console. This is called the console area. This is how there you have in a Python spider, you have a console where you have the output of a command, you have a place where you write the script, and you have a file explorer where the file you're going to open, and the variable explorer is the output of any variable which is executed in the script. Okay. Now what I will do here is I will first change my folder. See, if the zip file which you have got, there are 3 folders in that. One is the data pre-processing, one is regression, and one is classification. So what I will do here, I created one folder called Saraswati. Okay, I'll open that. Saraswati here. Then I go to data pre-processing folder, and I go to data pre-processing folder, and I select folder. Okay. Once I select that, then all my files in that folder will be seen here. Okay. Now, any file which is ending with .py is a Python programming file. Any file which is ending with .py is a Python programming file. So I will open a file called datamissing.csv. Can you see this? Sorry, missing data.py. Sorry, my mistake. I'll open. This is my data. This is my ready Python file. Okay. Now, if you see the sequence, you have importing libraries, importing data set, and missing data. Okay, these are the 3 things, data pre-processing steps we have learned till now. Now, this data.csv, what is this data.csv? Let me open this. Okay. Now, this data.csv, what is this data? What type of data is this?
Supervised classification data.
And why is it classification?
Because it has discrete outputs.
And which is the output?
Yes
First
or
is
no.
yes or no.
Yes or no.
Correct. So you have a classification data where you want to know whether you want to buy a particular product or not, right? And you have country, age, and salary, which are your independent variables. Okay. So what I will do is, in Python, what I do is I will go to the script. Now, typically what happens is I can either select single line. Okay. I can press Control and enter. I can select multiple lines. I can select Control and enter. Okay. When I do Control and enter, I will basically execute the particular file, or I can always go to run and do the run from here. Okay. Okay. Anyway, I can do. Okay. So what I will do is I will say 1 minute. So I will select one line at a time. So first I will do is, first thing I will do is import all my libraries. So I will import NumPy. So NumPy is for numeric calculations. So it will execute in the console. Once it executes, it will show you the next serial number. Okay, if it gives you if it's an error, means there's it will show that error. If there's no error, means the command has executed successfully. Okay, then I import my matplotlib, which is for graphs. Control and select enter. Then I select import pandas as PD. Okay, then I use my pandas to read my data set. So I select this line and I read my data.csv, which is on the same in the same directory. So I will select this. Okay. Now I want to see what is this data.csv. So I go to variable explorer. I see some data frame here. Okay. I double click on this. Okay. Now if I want to expand this, so you have country, age, salary, and purchase or no. Now what is the problem with this file? What is the problem with this data? What is the problem with this data?
Some inputs are missing.
Sorry?
Some inputs are missing.
Which inputs are missing?
Age or salary.
Correct. So if you see row number 4, your salary is missing, and in row number 6, your age is missing. Correct. So
Yes,
these
sir.
are all the null values. NaN, basically in machine learning, it is a null value. Correct. So typically what you will do is you will go to the client and say, client, I don't have these values. Okay. So what do I do? So client says, okay, I don't have any specific values, but you can make some assumptions and go ahead. You can make some assumptions and go ahead. So what I can do here, so what I want to do here is wherever the data is missing, I will replace the missing salary by the average or the mean of the remaining salary values. Similarly, I will replace the age, okay, which is missing by the average of the age values which are there, which are existing. Okay. Did you get that what I'm saying? So I'm going to calculate the average salary based on the remaining values average. This will be the average of these salaries, and this one age will be the average of the remaining. Okay. So this is a function I want to execute. Okay. So what I'll do is I close this. Now, before I do that, I first have to identify which is my independent variable and which is my dependent variable. So when I say x equal to, what does this mean? First one, I've already executed data set. Now I'm going to execute this line. So what will x contain now?
Independent variable.
Independent data set.
Which are those independent variables from here?
Country,
Country,
age,
age,
Country and
Country, age,
salary.
and salary.
Country age.
Correct. So if I go back here, if I press X and I press enter, okay, if you see here, my X contains country, age, and salary. Okay. Similarly, if I go to Y, is column number 4. So my fourth column is purchase, yes or no. So I press Control and enter, and I select Y. Y is all the yes and no columns. Okay. Now what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to use the mean to calculate the missing age and salary values. Okay. So what I do here, this is the syntax that I've used. I'm not going to depth of it. Just want to give an example. So if there are missing values, if it is NaN, then I use a strategy equal to mean. Okay. And I'm using 1:3. What does this 1:3 mean? Anybody?
1 to 3.
1 is what? Second column, right?
Yes, sir.
So what is the second column?
Second, third, and fourth.
So what is the second column?
Age.
Second
age,
column is age, right? What is the third column?
Yes. Salary.
salary,
Salary.
Salary, and fourth column is purchased, right? So when what do you mean by 1:3? Anybody can
So,
give
but
a
if we are starting from 0, then age will be 1, right?
correct. So age, so 0 is country. So country we are not interested. 1 is age.
depending upon the age if they have purchased or not.
No, we are only focusing on X. X में तुम्हारा purchasing आएगा नहीं ना?
So then 1 is age and 3 is purchase.
3 को नहीं धरते. 3 including नहीं है, excluding है.
Correct. When I say 1:3, it is basically column 2 and 3 only, excluding fourth column. Okay. So 1 is age,
Sir.
2 is salary, and 3 is purchase or no. So anything, so you exclude the 3, that means exclude the fourth column. So you only take the second and third column, which is your age and salary. Okay. So what I'm doing here, I'm using typical when you have an example in Python or object oriented, first what you'll do, you'll import a class, then you will instantiate the object. Okay, so you have an instance of a class which is an object, okay, and then you have a method, right? So here the method says that wherever the value is NaN, use a strategy equal to mean. So I'm going to execute this. Then I'm going to execute this line. And I am executing this line, okay? Now if I see the value of X, can you see what has happened? The missing values has got replaced by the mean of the salary and mean of the age. Can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So this is how
Yes, sir.
you execute a function. This is an example where if you have a missing data, you can do a lot of things. You can take the mean, you can take median, or you can take mode, or there are various things you can do, or you can also write your own function to derive the output for missing data.
Sir, we only have to do it once. Then all missing values are calculated, right?
In this case, yeah, in this case you have to, you have to take care of the missing values. So there are various, as you have, this is only one example of one age and salary. If there are millions of records where there are so many null, there are ways to basically identify how many null records are there, which are the columns which are null. You can find out ways of that, and then you can take a call what you have to do. Okay, you can eliminate that data or whatever you want to do. You got what I'm saying? This is a very simple example where you have only one missing data for age and salary. So you took the average from the other columns, other values of the same column, and then you took the average and put it in the missing data value. Okay, is that clear? So have you understood the concept of missing data?
Yes, sir.
And how do you take care of various strategies like mean, median, and some? Okay, do you guys understand what is mean, median, mode? I think I've explained you, right? I have told you, I have told the earlier session. Let me, I don't remember. Okay, tell me what is the mean? What is the mean of this?
Sum of all the observation upon total observation.
Okay, so what is the mean here? What is the mean?
5.
5. Okay. Okay.
5.
What is the median? What is the median?
5.
5.
Why 5?
All are arranged in increasing order, and the middle term is 5. And also it is odd numbers of terms.
Correct. So this is median because there are two, that it is middle of these two on either side, right? Now what happens if I do this?
Then middle two terms divided by 2.
Right. So what is the median here?
5 plus 7 divided by 2.
So the median becomes 6. Right.
6.
What is the mode?
0. Means there is no mode.
What is the meaning of mode?
Mode means
Repeated value.
the number of repeating values.
Okay, so what is the mode here?
There is no mode.
No mode.
The mode is 5 here, na? Because it's the highest occurrence of 5. Sorry, my mistake.
नहीं है उनके बीच में. हाँ.
Sorry, my mistake. Yeah.
अब 5 है.
Right? Because 5 has the maximum occurrence, right?
Yes, sir.
So mode is the highest occurrence of any value in a sample, right? Mean is the medium, and the median is the middle term or the average of the middle term, and the mean is the overall average of the overall observation divided by the number of observations. Okay. Okay. So now you guys understood the concept of data missing, right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now let us try the next data pre-processing step. Okay. Which is called data categorization. Okay. Now I will explain to you by a particular, I'll write here and I'll show it to you. Okay. Now you had a field called country, right?
Yes.
In country, you had France, for example, you have Italy and Germany. I'm just giving an example here. Okay. So what happens here is that in machine learning doesn't understand any text. It only understands binary values. Okay.
0 and 1.
Okay. 0 and 1. Okay. Or any numeric number of values. Okay. It doesn't identify any text. Okay. So what happens is if you have some sort of a text like this in your data, right? So what machine learning does, it does some sort of a data categorization. So first what it does is it converts these countries into, it gives the serial numbers. For example, if you say France, it will give 0. Italy, it will give 1. And Germany, it will give 2. Okay. So what it has done, it has created serial number sequencing writing starting from 0 depending on the number of countries. So if my data has got 10 countries, it will have 0 to 9. If my country has, if my country has 5 country values, it will have 0 to 4. If it has 7 values, then 0 to 6. Okay. Have you understood this? What it has done? It has just created a serial number for each country. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
The next step, what it will do is it will create an array. It will create an array of 3 variables. Why it will create an array of 3 variables? Because there are 3 countries. And how will it be? It will be like this. So what will happen is if it is France, France will replace by 1, 0, 0. If I got Italy, it will get replaced by 0, 1, 0. If it is called Germany, it will be 0, 0, 1. Again, if I got Italy, it will be 0, 1, 0. So what it has done, number one, it has created a sequence of serial numbers, which I saw in point number 1. And in point number 2, it creates an array depending on the number of countries. So in the case of this case, since there are 3 countries, it will create an array of 3 variables. Okay. And these 3 variables are what are they called? The dummy variables. They're called dummy variables. So what happens is, after you do this exercise, when I see the value of x initially would have been France, age, say France, say age is 21, 30,000. Okay. It will now show, x will show 1, 0, 0, 21, 20,000. If it is Italy, it will show 0, 1, 0, say 22, 20,000. Okay. So what has done is it has replaced the country variable by 3 dummy variables because there were 3 values of countries. So it will create 3 dummy variables. Okay. So that is why you have, this is called data categorization. Have you guys understood this?
Sir, what is it called?
It is called data categorization. Categorization.
Okay.
Or it is called categorizing data. This was one of the pre-processing steps, right? So if you have any field like country which has got prefixed text, since machine learning does not understand text, it only understands binary. So using data categorization, one, it will first convert into serial numbers depending on the number of countries, and second, it will create an array of dummy variables depending on the number of countries. Are we clear on this concept. Very, very important. Have you understood this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now this particular thing, this converting into this 0, 1 and 2, the class, there is the Python class which is used to do this is called label encoder. Okay. And the one which is creating the array of dummy variables is called one hot encoder. Okay. So label encoder, what does it do? It creates serial numbers depending on the number of countries, and one hot encoder will create an array of variables depending on the number of countries. So remember this label encoder and one hot encoder. Okay, these are the two important classes in Python which are used for doing this data categorization. Any questions on data categorization? Now we will execute and see it. I'll show it to you. But have you understood the concept of data categorization?
Yes,
Important.
sir.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I will go back to my Python. I will use same data. Okay, so I'm kept it like this only. I will go to my file explorer, and there I will see something called categorical data.py. Okay. This data categorical data is another Python script which is using the same data set. So the process steps remain the same. I will import the libraries. I will import the data set. I will categorize the dependent and independent variables. I will take care of missing data. And then next I will do the data categorization for country. Okay. So let me do that. So let me do one at a time. I import the libraries. Okay. So NumPy, then I import the graphs. I import the pandas. I take my data set. I take my X values other than the last column. I take the fourth column as my Y, which is my purchase, yes or no. I take care of missing data. So if I see X here, I saw the same thing which I seen earlier. Now I want to do the data characterization. So let me see here you are seeing label encoder, one hot encoder. So let me execute one at a time. Okay. Take this. I import these classes. I import another class. Then I use label encoder object. Now X colon comma 0. What does it mean? What is
First
X colon?
column.
First column. So all the rows, first column, right? 0. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the label encoder here. Okay. Now see what I'm going to do this. I will do this. Okay. Now see the value of X, what will happen. Can you see what has happened to X? Wherever there was a country field, now it has got 3 serial numbers.
Yes.
Right? Now let me do, so this is what the label encoder will do. Okay. Now what I will do, what I've done this, okay, now I will do the one hot encoder. Okay. So I'm going to execute this line and I execute this line. Now see what happens to X. Do you see what has happened now? Do you see what has happened? It has created an array of 3 dummy variables. Initially you had country, one field. Now it has created, instead of 1, it has got 3 variables. Because it has created 3 dummy variables because there were 3 countries. If there would have been 15 countries, they would have created 15 dummy variables. Have you understood this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Anybody has a
Yes, sir.
question on this? You got this clear, right? So this is how data categorization works. Okay. Most of the algorithms are there. They take care of data categorization on their own, or you have to explicitly program it. But you need to understand the concept of label encoder, and you need to understand the concept of one hot encoder, which is very, very
Sir,
common. Yeah.
but the arrays when arrays 1 0 0 मतलब होना चाहिए यहाँ पर 1.0 0.0 या 0.0 ऐसा क्यों है?
That is just
हमने जब देखा था तो
decimal representation. That is okay. Don't worry about that.
okay. Okay, okay.
Okay, so it is just 1000010. That's just a decimal representation. You don't worry about that. Okay, so the point here is that depending on the array, if France is there, maybe is 100. If Germany is there, then the France value will be 0. Germany will be 1. Italy will be 0. If there's Italy is there, then France and Germany will be 0. Italy will be 1. Okay, that's how it is. So this, it does
Okay.
all internal. You don't have to bother. This machine learning algorithm does all this on its own, right? But you need to understand the concept of how data characterization happens using label encoder and one hot encoder. Okay, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's go back. So this is how I've represented here. So country has got 0, 1, 2. Then that creates an array depending on the number of countries. Whatever I've explained to you is all represented here. Okay. Now, the next step I do is the splitting of the data set to training and test set. So this is the syntax I use. So what happens is I use an import train test split, that is a class. And what I do is I have X and Y, right? My dependent variables and independent variables. So when I do the split, I do the split of both X and Y into X test for my test training data, test data, independent variable. X train is my training data independent variable. Y test is my test data dependent variable, and Y train, which is my training data dependent variable. Okay, so you create 4 variables: X train, X test, Y train, Y test, and you see the split function. When I say test size equal to 0.2, means 20% is my test data, and obviously 80% is training data. So this is the syntax which you use for splitting my training set and test set. Okay, so
So, but for test data, we only go independent variables, right? So
no,
how can we?
no, you're talking about the model fitment. I've not even come there. I'm still in data
Okay.
pre-processing.
Okay.
I'm still doing my data pre-processing where I'm splitting my complete data, both independent and dependent variables, complete data. I'm splitting into training set and I'm splitting into test set.
Okay.
Got it, right? So in this case, I use 0.2 means my 20% of the entire set is test data. 20% of the entire entire set is 20% is test data and 80% is training data. And I split both X and Y, the independent variables as well as the dependent variables. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what I will do is I will go back. I will show how this works. So let me close this. I will open another file called data preprocessing template.py. Okay. Again, I will do the same thing because it's a new file. I will again do the import. Now let me take 3 at a time just to save time. Okay. Then I will take data set. I will again import my data set and I will have the X and the Y variables. Okay. I will take care of the missing data. I will take care of categorization. So if I go to X here, what I see, I showed there are 5 variables. Okay. Now what does this mean? Okay. Now, okay, this was the earlier one. Okay. Now I've done this. Now what I will do is I will split this. Now if I go back to my X, okay. So my X is 10 comma 5. What do you mean by 10 comma 5? What do you mean
10
by 10?
rows, 5 columns.
Correct. So my X, which was earlier 10 comma 3, now it is 10 comma 5. Correct. Now let me do the data split. If I see the split here, my test size is 20%. Now if I execute this line, okay, now if I see X test is 2.5, X train is 8.5. What does 2.5 mean, 8.5 mean?
2 rows are taken for test set and
Correct.
8
Because
rows
my
are
20% is test set. So 20% of 10 records is 2 and 80% of 10 records is 8. Number of columns still remain the same, right? Similarly,
Right.
if I see Y train and Y test, my Y train is 8, comma, it's not showing something. So when there's only one column, because my Y is always one column, right? So I don't have to show that. So I say 8, comma, means that I have 8 rows. And similarly, for Y test, there are 2 rows. Okay, so Y test and this is Y train. Okay, so this is how you take care of splitting your data set into training set and test set. And when you do the split, you do the entire split of the dependent variables and entire split of the independent variables. So you have X test, X train, Y test, Y train. Any questions at this point of time on this splitting the data into training and test set? Anybody has any questions? Anything on the chat, Datta, anything on the chat which needs to be answered?
No, sir. There is no question in chat.
Okay, great. So can I go ahead? Can I go ahead?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sir, sure.
Okay. So the next step which I have to do is called feature scaling. So this is the last data pre-processing step. Okay. So this is the last data pre-processing step. What I do, what is called a feature scaling. Now here also I will explain to you what does it mean. Just try to understand. Now you had country where you did the categorization. You had age, salary. These were your independent features or variables, correct? Now if I have to plot age versus salary, okay, typically what happens, my age will be between 21 and 60. This will be my working age, correct? Right? But my salary can differ from 10,000. I'm taking dollars, for example. I think people get excited when I talk dollars, right? Instead of rupees, because it's a multiplication factor of 70, right? So I'm talking dollars here. So 10,000 to 1 million, which is 10 raised to 6. So when you have an age of 21 to 60, and you have a salary which could vary from $10,000 to $1 million, okay? In that case, if I have to draw a graph, it becomes very, very difficult because the scale is different. Your age scale is only 21 to 60, but my salary varies from 10,000 to 1 million. So the scale is totally different, correct? So what machine learning algorithm does is that in order to do a proper graphical analysis or do a proper analysis of my features, what it does is it uses a function of feature scaling. What it does is it tries to bring down the values, it trims the values to a smaller value so that both features are having a common scale. So what the idea here is that I will try to use feature scaling in order to eliminate the problem of the different of scales which I have for age of salary. It will try to bring it in a common scale. So here it uses a class called standard scaler or min max scaler, any one of the two. Okay. So what we'll do is that min max scaler. What this will do, it will convert the value between -1 and 1. So whatever values you had for age and salary, which was 21, 72,000, 100,000, it will convert it to a binary smaller value between -1 and 1. Now you must be feeling why this is doing. Now this is again machine learning algorithm does this basically from a graphical analysis, and it also does it knows what is the mapping to the original value. So you really don't have to bother. So you need to really understand the concept. When I do feature scaling, if there are features which are having a different of scales, to bring them to a common scale for you to easier do an analysis or analysis of the data, you do a basically feature scaling where you use standard scaler or min-max scaler to bring it down to a common scale between -1 and +1 value. Any questions on this? What is feature scaling? Anybody? Have you understood? Urvashi, have you understood?
Yes, sir.
What about others? Abhishek and okay, I don't remember the names.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So you
Yes, sir.
understood the concepts. Let me execute this and I will show it to you how it works. Okay, let me execute this. Now I had done this till here. Okay, training the test set and this one. Now what I will do is, if I see the value of X test, I see the value of X test. This is how I have 2 records. If I see X train, please understand one more thing, guys, that these variables, right, X and Y, these are case sensitive. So capital X and small x have different meaning. Capital Y, small y also have different meaning. Okay. So these are the 8 records of X train and 2 records of X test. Now what I will do this, I will use this min-max scaler, or I can also use standard scaler. I can use any of these 2 functions. Okay. So if I do this, suppose I do this, I run this, I'm running one at a time just to give an example. X train I take X test. Okay, now if I see X train, you see the values, it has become somewhere close to -1, -0.774. Wherever you had age and salary, now it is some 0.774, 0.263, and so on. Correct? Do you see this? So the values have been trimmed to something between very smaller value. Okay. Similarly, if I have to do with standard scaler, the same thing I can do. Okay. So if I do X test, you see the values, it is again between -1 and +1, somewhere close to -1 and +1, right? So this is how feature scaling works, which is again one of the last data pre-processing step before you get into the start training the model. Any questions on the
Sir, we can
different?
use any one of it, no? Standard
Yes,
scalar
you
or
can use
min-max
anyone.
scalar.
Generally, we use standard scaler. I have seen in the industry, we use standard scalar. Okay. But we can also use min-max scalar. That's okay. Standard scalar is more, we use that more prominently, right?
Okay.
So is this clear on the data pre-processing steps? So first was importing the data set. Second, importing the libraries. Importing the data set, classifying the independent and the dependent variables. Fourth one was data categorization, missing data. Fifth was data categorization. Sixth was splitting into training and test set. And 7 was feature scaling. Okay. So is this sequence of data pre-processing steps clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
when the min-max scale when they use?
We can use any of the 2. I mean, there is no thumb rule, but there are, if
Okay.
you see the presentation, right, it actually tells you. I will share with ma'am after the sessions. So this is the formula it is used internally. This is the formula. Okay, what is the formula for standard deviation? What is the formula for normalization? Standard is, so min-max scalar, which is this normalization, and standardization is standard scalar. Okay. So this is just an example of how you use a standard. It doesn't matter. You can use any of the 2. It's just the formula is different. Okay.
Sir, can we use those values without trimming those values, or it
You
has
have
to
to do it.
be?
It has to be done. See, most of the algorithms, they have feature scaling inbuilt into the program. Have feature scaling inbuilt. Okay. Again, it comes through experience. Okay. Otherwise, if it is not explicit, you'll have to code it.
Okay.
Got it, na? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, having said that, let's go to some quiz again. Okay. So what we did, we covered till here. Okay. Okay. Now let's start with question number 3. We were with 3, right? Did we complete 3? No, no.
No, sir.
Oh, sir, we
Only
have
first and second question we are
first
done.
and second.
First and second. Okay. So now the third question is for team C. What is the answer?
Pandas.
Panda, sir.
Team A, what is the answer?
Pandas.
Pandas.
Of course, pandas.
Okay. So this is the easiest question. So team C gets 1 point. Okay. Team A. Sequence the following data pre-processing steps. Team A.
Importing data set.
Yeah.
Splitting
Missing
data into training
data.
and test.
E, A, C, B, and D.
So E, A,
C,
No, sir.
E, A, C, B and D. Correct?
पहले
yes.
कैटेगराइज करेंगे फिर मिसिंग डाटा लेंगे ना.
नहीं, पहले स्प्लिटिंग डेटा होगा ना. नहीं, पहले इंपोर्टिंग डेटा होगा, फिर स्प्लिटिंग,
हाँ, फिर
देन
स्प्लिटिंग
मिसिंग,
होगा.
देन कैटेगराइज, देन फ्यूचर.
पहले
यस.
मिसिंग नहीं होगा, पहले कैटेगरी में डिवाइड करना
पहले,
पड़ेगा, फिर मिसिंग देखना
हाँ
पड़ेगा.
हाँ हाँ, पहले इंपोर्टिंग है, फिर उसके बाद आएगा स्प्लिटिंग,
Splitting, then categorize, then missing data, and then
देन
feature
नॉट
scaling.
कैटेगराइज, देन मिसिंग.
मिसिंग कैसे निकालोगे अगर तुम्हारे पास कैटेगराइज नहीं होगा तो? पहले कैटेगराइज तो करना
राइट.
पड़ेगा ना तुम्हें. तो पहले import data, फिर splitting, then categorizing, then missing data, then features.
Very nice. Who is that? Who was that?
अभिषेक पतंगे.
Great, Abhishek. Very nice. Okay, team B. Good explanation. Team B.
Sir,
क्या हो गया team B? What happened? You are
sir,
impressed by team A's answer.
EC,
So yeah.
sir, ECBAT.
यार तुमने जो टीम में बोला वही बताया तुमने. अलग क्या बताया?
Sir, हमने
So you are following the leader. Okay, good. Abhishek, you are the leader. Huh? You should be happy. Okay, team C. Urvashi, I expect a right answer from you.
The same as what Abhishek said.
So all of you are all followers of Abhishek. In Facebook also, Facebook, Twitter, everything.
ECABD.
Sir,
First,
first we will import the data. Then
right.
after that, we will find the missing data. Then we will categorize it. Then split it into data, training and test set, and then feature scaling.
Who was that? Urvashi. Huh? Who's that? Who gave that answer?
Urvashi.
So that was the right answer.
Okay. So Abhishek said this or something else. I forgot his answer now.
Why do you bother about his answer?
Okay. So I am right or wrong, sir?
You are right.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Because I knew you will give the right answer, but I don't know why you were so impressed by Abhishek's answer.
Because you told that he is right, and I was
So
thinking.
what did I tell you? You should
Moving
not
forward.
follow the instructor.
Okay, sir.
I gave you hint, right? The
Yeah.
instructor tells you very good. That doesn't mean that the guy has given the right answer. I want to motivate him so that next time he doesn't give the wrong answer.
Okay, sir.
So be logical, right? First of all, you Abhishek, you cannot do a categorization before missing. अगर तुम्हारा country missing रहेगा, तुम क्या categorize करोगे? You will have to take care of all the missing data first, right? Then you will do categorization. Then you do the split. And after split, then you use feature scaling to have for x-ray and x-test, you make those values between -1 and 1. Correct? So it is E, A, B, C, D. Have you got it, Abhishek?
Yes, sir.
हाँ. तो never, so missing data पहला ही करना चाहिए. You cannot do any other step unless you take care of missing data. Okay. Fine. So team C got the right answer. But I was surprised, Urvashi, you said that following Abhishek. Anyway, okay. But be logical, guys. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So what I'm saying, be logical. Be logical. First of all, missing data has to be taken care of. Without that, you cannot do any other step. That's why whenever I started my data pre-processing, first thing I said, please take care of cleaning and missing data. Then whatever steps you do after that. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Good. So we completed 10-4. Team state 5, team B. Please be very careful while answering this question. Which of the following is not a recommended strategy to take care of missing data? Team B.
Option B, sir.
B and D.
Team C, what is it? So this is for team B, sorry. Yeah, team B, what is the answer?
Sir, B and D.
B and D. Team A, sorry, team C.
B. Option B.
And team B.
B.
Sorry, team A. Sorry, we said team B. So this was for team B. So team C said option B. Team A. Team A, what is the answer?
B and D.
B and D. Okay. So the answer was C was correct. C team said team B. Answer was B. Delete the observation is the least recommended strategy. I told you that many times. Why you're saying D? Replacing the missing data by the most frequent value is the mode. So you can either use mean, you can use median, you can use mode.
I told that.
Correct?
So
Yes,
So
sir.
the strategy which is not recommended is deleting. Okay. Okay. Then question number 6, again team C. Where are dummy variables used?
In featuring scale.
Huh?
Data
Featuring.
categorization.
B.
No, teams. So what is team C saying? What are dummy variables used? Data categorization or feature scaling? Where it is used?
Data categorization.
If you are using data categorization, I will give you a mark if you only tell me which are the classes used for data categorization. Which are the classes used for data characterization?
Label encoder.
Yeah, somebody was saying something. Bolo, क्या है?
Label encoder.
Encoder.
And
One hot encoder. One hot encoder.
That was which team?
Team C.
Escalon.
1 minute. Huh? Just give me 1 minute. Yeah. So one said label encoder and the other one was what? One hot encoder, right?
One hot encoder.
Yes,
So
sir.
what does one hot encoder do?
Dummy variables.
Dummy variable.
Correct. Okay. So team C. So who did that? Who answered label encoder 100? Was it team C or team A?
Team C.
Team C, sir.
Team C. Okay. So team C is all smart people यार. What happened to team A, team B? क्या हो गया? Okay, I'm seeing all smart people in team C. Unless someone is doing a proxy for team B, I mean, मैं पूछ भी ना रहा हूँ किसका नाम है. Okay, I can only identify one or two frequently जिसका voice आ रहा है उसका मैं I can make out. Otherwise, I assuming you are representing the right team. Okay, ठीक है. Okay, team A. Which are the Python libraries?
A, C, D.
All of the above.
All of the above.
All.
नहीं, first team A. Team A बताओ. Team A.
Of course, team
Give
A.
me one answer, please. Give me one answer.
E, all of the above.
Okay, team B.
All of the
All
above.
of the above.
Okay, team C.
Sir, ACD.
ACD.
So team A, why are you saying all the things? We only learned NumPy, Matplotlib, and Pandas. Why are you saying all? Team A.
I think all of the above are libraries. I don't think so. None of them. Import matplotlib.pyplot as PLT. I think I have learned it.
But why you're saying sklearn is also a library?
Why do you think, sir, it is not a library?
No. I'm asking you why you think it's a library. Give me an example.
From sklearn import random forest.
It's like your that fog ad, na, where the interviewer says, "Tell me something about yourselves," and the interview guy says, "Tell me something about yourself." ऐसा हो रहा है. वापस interviewer को पूछ रहा है, what tell me something about yourself. Okay. Yeah. So why sklearn? Tell me.
You're telling sklearn is a module.
No, is why you're saying sklearn is a library? Why you're saying all? That's what I'm trying to ask for justification. That's the only thing I'm asking. Where have you seen sklearn? I have only shown you Matplotlib and all that. In importing all libraries.
Someone sklearn in pre-processing, I think so.
sklearn in missing data and categorizing data.
Correct. You have used in very places. देखो यहाँ पे splitting में हम दिखाए यहाँ पे sklearn. Here also we have used sklearn.
वही तो बोल रहा हूँ मैं.
That's why I wanted a justification. I want to show where you have used it.
Okay.
So that is the idea. Otherwise, why I'm saying library? Where have you used it? So sklearn is a very important library called. It is also called scikit-learn. SCIKITLEARN. Scikit-learn. Okay. So this is a very, very important library. Most of the functions are using this library. Okay. You'll have a lot of classes within that, functions within that. Okay. So you're right, team A, that it is all. Absolutely right. I just wanted you to give me a justification. That's why I asked you. Okay. Okay. Good. Fine. So team A has done this. Now team B. Next question. Which class is used for categorizing data? ये तो easy है यार. कितना time हमने बोला है. Now if you don't make a mistake, team B this time. Team B.
BNC.
Huh?
BNC.
BNC or DNC?
BNC, sir.
D for dog, C for cat.
Labor encoder and one hot encoder.
अच्छा BNC. मैं सोचा अभी DNC कैसे all the above and C तो को हो ही नहीं सकता ना. मैं वही
No.
सोचा क्या हो गया. अच्छा lunch time भूख लगा है तो कुछ गड़बड़ हो गया. मैं सोचा okay ठीक है. BNC. Okay. What about this is team B, right? Team C.
Option B, label encoder.
Okay. And team C and team A. Team A.
BNC. Label encoder.
It is label and one hot ना दोनों है ना. Why are we so confused? It has to be both.
BNC बोला ना.
हाँ. So why somebody said only label encoder?
Yes, sir, both. BNC both.
It is both, right?
BNC,
so this is B gets 1 point.
A also.
B है ना? B को मिला ना 1.
भी पूछा आपने.
नहीं फर्स्ट टीम जिसको मैं सबको कितने पॉइंट दे सकता हूँ यार. पागल हो जाऊंगा
बस सर पहले ए ने आंसर दिया.
करेक्ट आंसर. हाँ. First was for team B, right? 8 is what team B is a multiple of 3, correct? So team B का पहला बोला था. So team B gets 1 point. Okay. Chalo dekho, team C, which is the recommended ratio for splitting training and data set?
ACE.
Team C.
A, B, and E.
Who was that?
ACE, sir.
Urvashi.
ACE.
Sir, ACE.
ACE.
हाँ
Team
सर
C
आप
says
ACE, sir.
ACE. Team A. Team A.
A and
ACE.
C. A and C.
ACE,
No,
sir.
not E.
ACE.
A and
Okay.
C only.
Okay, and team B.
And C.
ANC.
Okay. First of all, 70-30 is correct.
Yes.
Possible.
Yes, sir.
30-70.
No.
No, sir.
No.
Because your test set cannot be more than training set.
Yes.
80-20.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
100-0.
No.
No, sir.
Because you need to have some test set. 90-10.
Yes.
Yes.
No,
Sir.
Yeah,
Yes.
why not? If I
Yes,
got a
sir.
large
Yes,
volume
sir.
of records, if I got millions of records, I can have 90% training and 10% test.
do you think it is good for
Hmm?
every time usage?
See, again, it comes to experience.
That's what
Okay, it
I'm
all
saying.
comes to experience.
90
But
and
if I
10
have
it
got
rarely
no,
used, sir.
but if I have got
I
millions of
think, as per
records,
my experience, I think 1910 is not mostly used, not reliable. I think so. As
see,
far as I know, sir, I don't know about you.
it comes to experience. See, again, I'm saying, see, more the data you give for training, more the model will get trained. I can put it that way. So if I got millions of records, I can still have a 90-10. But yes, again, it depends on volume of data. That's what I'm saying.
That's
Then it varies from case to case. But these are the recommended ratios. I'm just saying these are recommended. So 70-30, 80-20 is there. 90-10 is also there depending on the volume of records. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
90 and 10 depends, sir. It's not always true.
That's what I'm saying. These are nothing is always true. It again comes to experience as you start working on programming. But these are the recommended ratios. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Okay. Okay. So who answered this? Team C, right? Team C gets 1
Sir.
point. I was surprised Urvashi saying 30-70. Urvashi, why are you saying 30-70?
Sir, by mistakenly I told B. I wanted to tell C, but I told B. A, C, E
As
is
long
there.
as you wanted to say the correct, it is okay. That's fine. Okay. Great. Okay, so this covers the thing. Okay. Now what we will do is I will just go through one univariate regression to explain you how the model works. That workflow, right? I told you about the workflow. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run one script where I will explain you the complete work model. We all went through the explanation of data pre-processing, then basically training the model with X-train, Y-train, with the training set. Then with the test set, you feed the independent variable, predict the dependent variable, compare the predicted variable with the actual dependent variable of the test data, right? I want to execute this and show it to you, okay? Before we wind up, okay? Let me just, okay. Now I'm going to open one script. I go to, I change my folder to regression, simple linear regression, and I say select folder, okay? Now here what I do is that I have a file called salary data data processing simple linear regression .py. Where is that? Niche hoga. Okay. Now here there is a data set called salary data.csv. Now what is this data? Years of experience and salary. So which is my dependent? So what is this data? This is a regression data. This is a classification data.
Regressions.
Regression data, correct? This is univariate regression, right? Because there's a single independent and single dependent variable. So which is your independent variable and which is your dependent variable?
Dependent is salary, independent is year and experience.
Correct. So independent is years of experience. Now what I will do is, here I will first import the I will first do the data pre-processing steps. First I will import the libraries. I will import the data set. I will take the X, which is what is my X here? Years of experience, right? And my Y is my salary. Okay. Now if I see Y here, okay, this is my salary. Then I split my data into training and test set. Okay. Now what I do, see what I'm done here. So I've used a class called linear regression where I am feeding X train and Y train. So I'm training my model using my training data. So here I'm doing the model training. Okay. Now what I do is I take ypred variable, where I take X test as input and I do a ypred. Have you understood this step? What I've done? What is the step? What is the step? You understand this?
No, sir.
No, sir. No, sir.
See, what did I tell you? That you first train the model, right? So I train the model with X train and Y train. Are you clear on this?
Yes, sir.
I use my training data, my say 80% is training data. So I give my years of experience and salary and train the model. Correct? Have you understood this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then what I did, I have to take the independent variables from the test data, feed it into the model, and the output I will put it in the predicted variable. So this is my output. Y predict is regressor predict X test. So I'm taking X test as an input and I'm predicting salary. This Y pred is my predicted salary. Okay.
Okay.
Now
Okay,
what I
sir.
will do, I will compare Y pred and Y test. Okay. So what I do, I go to Variable Explorer, I take Y pred and I take Y test and I compare. This is a visual comparison, but there is a way to also calculate the efficiency, which I will not cover in this today's session. But just understand that I am trying to compare the predicted value of the salary and the actual value of the salary, which is Y test. And if I do a visual comparison where my model for the test data for that years of experience, it is showing 40,835, but my actual data is 37,731. It's okay. Where it is 123, it is where is 122 is the actual, is predicted 123. Where it is 116, it is 115. Where it is 112, it is 116. So it is more or less very close to the actual, but still not very. As I said, no machine learning algorithm will give you 100% accuracy. But even if you achieve 90 plus accuracy, it is good enough, the model, right? So this is the way you predict the salary compared with the actual test salary. Is this clear? I explain you the complete model, right? You take the complete training set, then you take the independent variable of the test set, you run with the model, you feed into the model, and then you predict the salary, and then you compare the Y pred with the Y test. Have you understood this, guys? The principle?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now,
Yes, sir.
if I want to plot this graph, now I can want to plot it also. If I can plot it here for the training set. Now, what you see here, if you see here, this is the salary and years of experience. The blue line which you see is the one which is coming out of the model. The blue line is the one which is coming out of the model, and the red dots which you see is the actual training data. Is the actual training data. Okay, so you see how far the actual data is from the predicted line, which is the blue line. The blue line prediction comes from the model. Similarly, if I went to do for the test data, you see again, if you compare the prediction line is again blue, while the test data, the dotted lines are the actual test data. And the test data has behaved very well with the model. The model has done very well with the test data, because barring 1 or 2 points, more or less they are very close to the predicted line, which is the blue line. Have you understood this concept of how we have? This is the one where I wanted to show you the end-to-end process, right from the data pre-processing, training the model, then feeding the independent variables to the model, predicted the value of y, and comparing with the y actuals. Have you got this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
this is
sir.
all about regression model. So classification and all is again the same concept. I'll do is I will again take the same data, feed it to the model, and I will do a comparison with the y predict of purchase yes or no with the y actuals purchase yes or no. Simple, same concept. Only thing, the y here is discrete in the case of classification, and it is continuous in the case of regression. Okay. Okay, so that's it from my side, guys. You have any questions? You have any questions on whatever I have taught till now? Have you guys understood? Did you enjoy the session or no?
Yes, sir. We enjoyed.
Sir, we enjoy.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So who?
Yes.
Dr. Pinky, you're there? Okay,
Yes, sir.
great.
Yes, sir. I
Sir,
am
in
there.
this, sir, can you explain the working of time series in practical form?
So time series is basically meant for when you have a seasonal data, right? For example, you have the sales of a product, correct, which is seasonal. Okay, so you use time series to take care of the seasonality of data and predict the future sales
Sir,
based
in
on the
practical form.
seasons. Okay. Yeah. Okay, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, welcome back again, and I hope you all enjoyed this session. And, sir, I must say you were so energetic throughout the session. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So, students, I am here to present the vote of thanks for today's online workshop on machine learning. And first of all, I would like to thank Mr. Arunjit Chaudhary, sir, for taking out time from his busy schedule and enlightening us with the knowledge. Thank you, sir.
My pleasure. Welcome.
Okay. I would also like to thank our principal, ma'am, Dr. Manjusha Deshmukh, for giving us permission to organize this online workshop. I would also like to offer my gratitude to Professor Vishali Jadhav, Dean Student Career Development, for organizing this workshop and inviting Arunjit sir as honorable speaker. I would also like to thank Professor Suhasini students who could not attend this workshop on Google Meet due to restriction of participants. I would also like to thank all the participants for paying your attention and learning. At the end, I would like to thank all persons who directly or indirectly helped us in making this session very successful. So this is all about today. But before leaving, you must turn on your video so that we can have our screenshot of this memory that we have performed this online workshop. So please turn on your videos, everyone. Sir, you also need to turn on your
Yeah,
video.
I'll do that.
Yes, sir. Everyone, please turn on your videos.
सर प्लीज आप स्क्रीन शेयरिंग स्टॉप कर दीजिए सर अरुणजीत सर.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Screen sharing. This is 1 minute.
D24, D45, please turn your videos. Okay. Okay. So now all those students who have attended this session, they must fill the feedback form that is given in the chat box. So you need to fill this form first and then you can leave. Nazirkar sir, done with photos?
Ma'am, can you please take it? There is
Okay,
some
okay.
error is coming here from my side.
Okay, I will take, sir. One
Yes,
second.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So all of you can see me, right? I got disconnected actually.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now.
So now is it visible? Okay. 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 Okay, thank you all for joining us. Thank you, sir, Abhijit, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you,
Sir,
everybody.
okay.
Have a lovely weekend, all of you. Bye.
Okay. Students, you
yes.
first need to fill feedback form and then only you can leave.
Bye, ma'am.
Yes.
Students, it will take just 1 minute to fill the feedback form. So kindly please fill it.
Because your attendance is very important.
Yes.
And जब तक तुम लोग feedback form नहीं भरोगे तुम्हारी attendance नहीं लगेगी बच्चों.
Extra marks